Howie, I'm going to be Newcastle-ish this stream. Howie, lads, how are we all up to? Yeah. Right, hello, we are live. We've got 53 minutes remaining. I've got to change the text at the top of the screen because I forgot to do that because I have literally just got home. Like, I've literally run home in my car, albeit, so maybe not quite run. Welcome to day 2 of F1 testing for the 2023 season at Bahrain. Bahrain. Anyway, we are live. I'm going to turn these lights down a bit because I didn't have time to set up because we have quite literally, like, I have just got home. Hello, Carl. How we doing? Good to see you. Good to see you around. So we've got a couple of drivers who are now actually improving. There's a couple of drivers really going for it. Nick De Vries so far, the shock up in P2. 7/10 off of Max Verstappen's lap, which is just shy of what he managed in Q1 last season. We are just shy of it. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty impressive. We're getting some pretty attacking laps going at the moment. Where'd you get that timesheet? It's from a website. I don't know. Someone sent me the link ages ago, and I just keep going on Discord and clicking the link. It's good. It's also got a track map as well, but I can't figure out how to. Well, no, I can figure out. I know exactly how to do it, but I need the time to set that track map up so it's actually usable on 2 different things. But anyway, hello everyone. How are we all doing? Hello, hello, Flying Mike. Hello, Dumb Thing Science. Love the sound of that. Imran as well. I missed testing today. So sad. Yeah, well, we've still got 51 minutes left, so you haven't missed all of it. You've got my amazing commentary skills to bring you through the rest of it. But yeah, so we've got live speed as well, so you can see all of the important stuff. Loads of cars out on track at the moment. I've got the screen here. I think I'm about a minute behind what's actually happening on track. So, but Guan Yu Zhou has just improved his lap. He's 1.5 seconds off the pace. He's on a set of C3 tyres, which we're seeing a lot of today. But tonight, before this session ends, we can expect Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen to probably put in a bit of a quali sim come the end of this session. So, fingers crossed, we're going to get some pretty quick running in the next few minutes. That's the hope. Next 50 minutes, we should see a quick run. That's what we're all praying for. Charles Leclerc is out on track at the moment, but again, I think he's on a set C3 tyres. So at the moment, we're just very much in a case of it's all just being steady, all just sort of plodding along nicely. So telemetry there, we've got max speed. So let's take a look at speed trap data for today, and it's not what we saw yesterday. So Max Verstappen was at the top of the speed trap for 2 out of 3 sectors yesterday. Now Nico Hulkenberg sector 1, Carlos Sainz sector 3, and Kevin Magnussen sector 2. Now, is this a sign that Haas have been experimenting with slightly lower fuel loads, maybe even trying for a bit of straight line speed, lower downforce package that they've got on the car today? Who knows? There's quite a lot going on. Thoughts on Booba? I mean, I'm a fan of the Booba. It's bad. Yeah, so, yeah, it's looking alright. It looks like Haas might have maybe been on a slightly more aggressive aero setup today compared to yesterday. Or compared to other people. Hello, mate, you're home early. I am. Basically, I finished So, what I was meant to have today was lectures from basically 9 till 5. That 2 till 5 block is still happening, but I thought, no, I'm going to go home and stream. Because we had a 2-hour block in the middle where I basically did all the work. Like, I was done. So I was like, well, if I can get all this done, I won't need to go to this thing later on. And I can come home and stream to you guys. So that's what I've done. That's what we've done. I've had, no time to set up this stream. I've not eaten any lunch. I don't think I've eaten food today. But it's fine. It's fine. Who cares? You don't need food. You don't need food to talk. So I've sped home. I had no mobile data. So I missed the last, hour or hour and a half or whatever. I missed all of it. Because I've run out of mobile data because I was watching it so much on my drives in and out the last 2 days. So that's a shame, but apparently George Russell's broke down and I completely missed it, so that's fun. So that's a bit rough. You don't need food, you need F1, and you need me. F1 being the motivation to do work is a W, exactly, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, look, if I can get all this done, I can come home, I can watch it, I can stream, chat with you guys, which is all a lot of fun, so I think it's good. McLaren looks not good. What do you think? I mean, I fully agree. I mean, from what I've seen from McLaren today, car looks a bit of a pain to drive. Yeah, I'm not feeling too confident. Alonso has done a 29.3 sector 1. So here we go. Alonso might be on a little bit of a fly ahead. This will be an improvement. 2/10 off what Verstappen managed in the first sector. He's got he's got 2 greens so far. This is cool. We actually have the mini sectors now as well. So this is really cool. So yeah, this is really good data actually. I know it's testing, but seeing Merc below top 5 is giving me last year flashbacks. Yeah, I know, and I honestly think they are struggling maybe a little bit more than we were expecting. But I once that car's set up, I think they will be better. Alonso sets another personal best sector 2 relative to Verstappen. That is 4/10 behind though. Although I believe Alonso is on. Have we got tyres? So Alonso is on fresh C3 tyres. So Alonso's on a fresh set of C3 tyres. He set purple mini sector 23.0 in the final sector. That is a 32.2, 6/10 off, or about 7/10 I guess, off of what Verstappen managed earlier today. I mean, he can still improve obviously, but yeah, he's still out there. So there we go. Alonso setting a pretty decent lap there, putting himself up into P2 ahead of Nick De Vries by what was that? About a 100th and a half. So it's very close out there at the moment. It's very close. Even for testing, the Red Bull looks too good. Maybe 2020 Merc level good. Ooh, potentially, but they could just be pushing harder. You know, there's a very real chance they are just pushing harder. And that's the thing with testing. We don't know. I just don't see how they can come out this year and be so dominant, like as what it's looking like at the moment. I don't see how it happens. You know, they already pushed the cost cap last year. You know, they're going to be. It just seems weird. It seems weird. I don't doubt, to be honest, they probably are the quickest car. It looks like the best car to drive. It looks so hooked up. I imagine most of the other drivers are looking at that car with a little bit of jealousy, the Red Bull car. But I mean, they can't be that good. You know, they can't be as good as they're actually looking. Because if they are as good as they're looking at the moment, they're going to be good. Like, good. Good was used too many times in the last 30 seconds, but they're good. Well, Aston Martin already half a second up on their best quality time last year. Yeah. I mean, there you go. There you go. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? And they've made the biggest step. There's actually some rumours in the paddock now that potentially, and you know, I'm saying potentially here because it's rumours in the paddock. Well, actually, it's not even rumours in the paddock, it's rumours in the media that are supposedly from the paddock. Basically, someone could be making it up. But the current rumours are that Aston Martin are comfortably the 4th quickest car, and I fully agree. I believe that now. Going into testing yesterday, I was thinking, I don't know. I mean, they'll probably be, in the battle for 4th. But I think with Alonso, he is comfortably going to be the best of the rest for most races. Whether or not they're close enough to the top 3, that's a completely different question, and we'll have to sort of wait and see. Probably until the qualifying session, or even like FP3, we just won't know that. But no, I'm going to quite comfortably put Aston Martin as the 4th quickest team now. I have no issue in saying that from what we've seen so far. It's such a drivable car. Fernando Alonso's such a good driver. They should get 4th this year. Looks like they'll get 4th. Alpine, it doesn't look like a bad car. I mean, it's locked up a few times. It's run wide a few times. But, it's driver things as well. It's nothing too much to worry about. But obviously it will be a concern. It will be a concern. Lord We're saying, guys, please press the like button. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, if you want to give it a go, I mean, I won't complain. Ruben saying hello, RaceBeacon, mate. How are you? All good, Ruben. All good. How are you? Well, to be fair, Red Bull have not bought upgrades since Spa last year. Exactly. They withheld their weight-saving chassis from Singapore, and such while Merc developed right to the end. Yeah, that is one thing that you point out right there. Mercedes were developing right to the end because I think they knew they were going to carry on with this concept of car. So, yeah, for them, they wanted to keep developing. And, yeah, Red Bull, they didn't bring a lot in. And that's why Mercedes looked like they outdeveloped Red Bull. But you'd assume Red Bull were operating right at the edge of the budget cap. So, to an extent there, they might have just overinvested early in the season. So, there was a bit of a trade-off there. The top teams are working to a budget cap now. It's not like they just sit there and go, you know what, we're done for this year, just to save some money. It's like, no, they are right at the limit of the cost cap. So, they probably couldn't afford to do extra. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out, obviously, when we get to qualifying for this first race. Alonso, Rookie of the Year. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Vettel P1. Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it? That would be fun. That would be fun. So has anyone watched any of Drive to Survive yet? I assume some of you guys will very much be looking forward to watching that. Mercedes is over, I think. Oh, well, what do you mean over? Because last year they were poor. You know, like, they were bad last year at some tracks. They were like 5th or 6th quickest car. Not in the rankings. Car. So, like, top, you know, just outside of top 10 at some tracks last year. So, they're gonna improve on a whole from last year. But yeah, they might struggle at the moment, no doubt. They might struggle at the moment. Colin has. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to give it a watch as well once the session comes to an end, because I've heard there's some pretty good stuff in it. So yeah, I'm pretty interested in that. I have a 6-hour layover and a 15-hour journey next week. I'll watch everything then. I mean, that's rough. But, I mean, if it's not too personal, whereabouts are you going? I'm very curious to, you know, I feel like we've got half the story there. We need to know what you're up to. In a non-creepy way. I watched half an episode, and it's better than last year from what I've seen so far. Yeah, I mean, they mentioned that on the, on like all of the broadcasts this morning, because they had obviously Will Buxton on the F1 TV feed. And he sort of mentioned, and I hadn't really thought of this, but yeah, the last 2 years were limited due to the cough. There obviously was restricted access. The cameramen couldn't come and go between all the teams. And yeah, you know what? That makes sense as to why the quality and sort of all the behind the scenes that we love to see, there maybe wasn't quite as much of it last year. Or the last couple of years. And yeah, that could explain why it wasn't quite as good, I guess. Zhou Guanyu is improving as well. He currently sits down in P7, but he is on 2 personal best sectors. A 29.4 puts him ahead of Hulkenberg at the moment. So does the second sector, very close to De Vries in the second sector. So this lap looks like it's going to sit just below De Vries. Nope, very good final sector in the end. Wait, what? How's he done that? How's he gone quicker? That doesn't make... The math ain't mathing. The math is not mathing. How is Zhou ahead of De Vries based on the sector times? I'm very confused. Back home at Dubai for UD. Right, okay. I mean, that sounds good. Massive cough. Yeah, we do the cough because it's I don't know what YouTube's like if I use the real words, so we're saying the cough. I don't know. I know Twitch had problems with it, so I'm carrying that over. Plus, let's just not remind ourselves of that time. That's behind us now. Let's just ignore that ever happened. Joe P3, yeah, very good. A very good lap from him there. Very good up into P3. And I've also just realised right now, I forgot to change it to ultra low latency on the stream because I was rushing home and I forgot to do it. So again, apologies. I am quite a bit ahead of what you guys are seeing, obviously, rather than just a few seconds like I'd like it to be. But that shouldn't make a massive difference, to be honest. It's just mildly annoying for me. But yeah, Joe up into P3 at the moment. So yeah, doing a pretty good job there. 9/10 off of the pace. What tyre was he on? If that's a set of C4s, that's not a great lap, to be honest. That was a set of C4s. That's probably not a great lap. We'll see. So what tyres is everyone on? Let's take a look at what tyres everyone set their laps on. I think it's on here somewhere. So there's the speed traps again. So Hulkenberg, Sector 1 has got the quickest at speed trap 1. Magnussen at speed trap 2. So the Haas's both look like they've got some great straight line speed. Hulkenberg maybe backed off at the end here. I was running slightly higher downforce. And then 292 for Sainz. So maybe the Ferrari running lowest downforce overall, because look how close Leclerc is as well. Only 1 km/h off in each of them. So yeah, Ferrari might be pushing on straight line speed a little bit more than some of the other teams by the looks of it. Everything is tyres. Oh, okay. We've got tyres for the people on track at the moment, but I'll keep it on best lap for now. We'll go with that. So is Leclerc in an Eagle Rari? Yeah, he's driving his Eagle Rari around. Russell probably won't come back out today, according to Mike. Oh, okay, so that's interesting to see that. So does anyone know what the problem actually was? Because like I say, I was driving home when that happened. I sort of missed the last hour before I went live. Because I finished all my uni work earlier than I thought I would. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to rush home. And I'm going to get stream out. Because I thought, you know, I like talking to you all. It's quite fun. So I thought, let's get stream out. See, I'm not sure what happened to Russell. Like, obviously, I know he's broken down and, you know, stopped on track. I think it was in Sector 2 as well. But I don't know what happened. Hydraulic issue. No specifics from... Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, that sounds like the default response a lot of teams go to when something goes wrong in testing. I mean, I guess it's kind of training. Qatar and Vegas going to be new tracks this year? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know which one I'm looking forward to more. I'm not sure Qatar will be too great. But Las Vegas, I have high hopes for it simply because it would be fun if it is good. You know, like if that race is good, it's going to be one of the highlights of the year just because of the setting, the sort of atmosphere you're going to have mixed in with a good race. Who wouldn't want it? If it's a rubbish race, though, then I'm just going to be annoyed. I'm just going to be really annoyed. Pierre's Insta reply to Russell back in black. Pierre, once you go. Yeah, I know. I saw that when that happened. I don't want to question those guys. I really don't. So who's out on track at the moment? We've got Vries, Hulkenberg, Leclerc, Piastri, and Pierre Gasly. I don't even get the meme, to be honest. But I'm going to do it anyway. So yeah, Lando drives out on track at the moment. Should we take a look at what tyres and what tyre age everyone is on? Because... yeah, here we go. So... okay, so Charles Leclerc on a set of fresh C3 tyres. So this could be maybe a bit more of a performance run from Leclerc because there is only about 40 minutes left. So this could be either the start of a long run or maybe we're going to get a cheeky performance run in. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully we get a little performance run in. That'd be cool. Hulkenberg also starting a lap. I mean, that was about a minute and a half ago. Like I said, the actual thing I'm watching is about a minute behind real life and like this timing. Because I didn't have time to set up like all the skybox stuff up here. Thoughts on Ronaldo? I mean, you know, I really don't know because he obviously I'd normally have him down as like one of my favourite footballers, but it's all sort of got a bit wrong recently, hasn't it? I think Mercedes in performance are P4, P5. I'm not sure I'd go as low as P5, but I think that there's definitely potential that Aston Martin might have outperformed them early on this season. I think there's definitely a possibility because Aston Martin, I think for me, they are the best of the rest, very clearly. And they might be able to compete for a little bit more, who knows. So Charles Leclerc set a personal best Sector 3, as did Hulkenberg on his last lap. This could be Charles Leclerc gearing up for a bit more of a performance run on the C3 tyres. So let's see what a Sector 1 split is like in a few seconds' time. Do I like PS helmet? Most people seem to either love it or just hate it. Me in between. Please do a poll. I don't think the poll will work without photos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at the design and sort of see what it's like. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting design. I think if any of you want to do it, just literally Google Pierre Gasly 2023 helmet. It's an interesting design. It's all right. You say you either love it or hate it. I think I'm in the middle. I think I am in the middle. At least so far, Merc don't have any fundamental issues. Yeah, exactly. And that's what's giving me at least some confidence for Mercedes. They do still, there's nothing that is clearly fundamentally wrong. That's going to be a massive problem that they're going to have to, sweat their butts off to try to fix, sort of thing. So, is Mercedes come back out today? I mean, I imagine with how little time is left, no, it doesn't look like it. I've just seen the Mercedes garage. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, they've still got like the screens out, which mean they're doing something like very highly technical, very secretive. Because you have to, it has to be a pretty fundamental problem to get the screens out to stop to stop the cameras being on your car. Which do you think would be more interesting? On what? Oh, you mean Vegas and Qatar? I mean, probably Vegas, just because it's Vegas. Like the atmosphere of that's gonna be really fun to see. Hey mate, man, Mercedes not a great start though. It is only testing. Yeah, absolutely. It's not looking great for Mercedes, and that's ignoring the times. Again, I'm not even regarding the times in this whatsoever. But there is some encouragement. There's nothing that's clearly fundamentally wrong with that car like we had, last year. Well, porpoising was, I don't know if any of you heard of it, but that porpoising thing, yeah, it was a bit of a problem. Is Qatar the same circuit or a new circuit? I think it's... Ooh, what did it end up being? I think it's the sales circuit for this year. So the old circuit. But then I think there's a new track coming in a few years' time. Was that what it was? Because I think it's still the LaSalle circuit. Yeah, I think by the looks of it, it's still the LaSalle circuit for this year. Yeah, it's the same at LaSalle, yeah. Better now rather than next week? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe they get one more lap to check if the repairs worked, but that's all what Merc could maybe do. Yeah, they won't get like another long run in or anything along those. Like that just won't happen. There's not. Well, it's not really a time to do it anyway. But it also looks like they're very much set down now. Even Toto said they were sandbagging. Everyone is. Everybody is sandbagging. That's what we need to always know that everyone is going slower than they can. Question is by how much. And I mean, without having an incredibly large amount of data, of which the teams won't want to share any of, we can't really answer the question, unfortunately. The only good thing about that circuit was the curbs puncturing tyres. I know, I had the same thing with Silverstone for a while. I'm like, yeah, it's great. It just destroys the tyres. It's so good. Aston's very interested. Yeah, they really are. They really are. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record on this every time I say it, but Aston Martin, they should be something a bit more special this year. They're not going to win the championship. They're not going to probably even win races. But they'll be up there at tracks that really suit them. I don't see a reason they couldn't, be competing with the third place of the top three on an off chance, if Alonso puts in a good lap, if the track really suits the car, that sort of thing. But we haven't seen teams be able to do that for quite a while. At least when the top three teams are actually on a good level. Obviously, we've had Mercedes and Ferrari be a bit weaker recently. Leclerc the year before was a great race. What are you on about? I mean, it's okay. I'm not a massive fan of it, to be honest. Leclerc is quite a boring circuit, good for MotoGP. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, the Leclerc circuit is a MotoGP track. It's not an F1 track. Yeah, it has zero elevation. Yeah, absolutely. As long as Stroll doesn't come back for the near future, Aston should be good. I mean, that's brutal, but also... Look, Stroll's not that bad. He's not going to ever win a championship, or compete for a championship even. But if he had the best car, he'd pick up podiums and stuff like that. It'd probably just be a bit of a level below what sort of Bottas was for Lewis. Ferrari had Binotto, Aston have the Strolls. Very concerning for Stroll's case, especially he's going to be a very on the back foot. I mean, yeah, he is for having to miss some of these sessions. He might even miss the first race, which will be a really big problem. Because, that'll be the first time we haven't had Lance Stroll driving in that team, the Silverstone team's car, for quite some time. And if you've got Fernando Alonso as a teammate as well, when you come back, it's going to be, it'll be interesting because there could be quite a big gap, recovering from injury. So yeah, he'll get some sympathy there. But, I mean, he might be a bit berated by the press if he gets destroyed. What's my opinion on the Buddha International Circuit? I like it. I think it's a good track. I'd love to see a race back in India. I feel like it's such a big potential audience there. It would make sense for F1 to look into it. What we've got here. So Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu, currently sitting in third place, has just put in a pretty good Sector 1 there. And so far, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good Sector 2. We have personal bests lighting up. What tyre is he on? I think he's on a set of the... I mean, obviously... I don't think there's a C1677254388 or whatever. So I think that might be a set of C4s, potentially. But we'll see. Oh, he set a purple. He set a purple on the mini sector. He's set a purple sector too. Zhou Guanyu. Oh, I'm not sure he's on 13-lap-old mediums. I'm not sure that's the case. Or the C3s. But anyway, well, let's see what this lap ends up being. Because there's only a couple of mini sectors left to go. And he set a purple Sector 2. And he is pretty close to what Max did in Sector 1 on his best lap. So let's wait and see. Oh, and Zhou Guan Yu goes quickest. He has gone quickest by about 0.05 of a second. And that is, well, that's pretty interesting. And I think all this does, really, is remind us that this is testing. Oh, yeah, that's a set of C5 tyres. Zhou's come out on a set of C5s there. Yeah, that's a set of C5 tyres. So, yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Anyone know anything about Stroll's condition? Like I heard things from minor wrist injury to 2 broken wrists. Yeah, I mean, what I've heard is a broken wrist. So I'll be surprised if he makes the first race from what I've heard. That's just purely from what I've heard online, like speculation. Here we go. Alonso looks like he might be on a good lap here. He's set a purple mini sector or 29.4. That's a little bit off probably where he wanted to be. But if he gets a couple more green sectors in here, he might be able to improve. There's only a 10th or 2 that he's looking to improve here. I mean, doesn't look great on paper F1, but you can't disagree. The first race, there were a lot more overtakes than expected. If you lot can't remember, rewatch it myself. Enjoy it very much. I mean, yeah, I've got no problem with like the circuit really. I just don't think it's gonna be. I just don't think it's that great a track. It's all right. Like there's nothing awful about it. I'm just not particularly excited about it. Yeah, Alonso's on mediums. Yep. He is. And he set personal best sector 2, 39.7 there. So let's see if this will be enough for him to improve. He's got a couple of green mini sectors coming up already in sector 3, but there's a couple that aren't improvements, couple that aren't. So let's wait and see when Alonso comes up across the line in literally a couple of seconds time. 23.0. He hasn't improved there. He didn't improve there. But not a bad lap overall. Not a bad lap. Like if it's a broken wrist, depending on severity, he could be out. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it's a badly broken wrist, he could. Oh my dear God! Thank you for subscribing, but that just scared the absolute proverbial stuff out of me because I thought the audio was turned off. I'm gonna just turn the headphones off because that scared the heart is going. But thank you for subscribing. Do you think Ocon and Gasly will create fireworks on track this year? I hope they do. I so hope they do because that could be one hell of a rivalry. That could be a really good rivalry. So fingers crossed they do. It's not often I hope for... No, that's a lie. I was about to say it's not often I hope for drama between teammates. Yes, it is. I love drama between teammates because it's always fun. It's always so fun. So we've got Verstappen, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Sargent and Leclerc out on track at the moment. Leclerc looks like he might be on a set of relatively fresh C3 tyres. So again, we'll see if he decides to do any kind of sort of meaningful lap times for this. Right, what we're seeing. Do you think Ocon and Gasly will create fireworks? Hopefully, considering it's Ocon. I mean, Ocon's already come out and said he's going to fight Gasly like he fights all of his teammates. So in that case, yeah, probably something will happen. Do you think it's concerning for McLaren? I mean, so far I've not seen McLaren do particularly well at this testing, and it is concerning. Yeah, as a McLaren fan, I am a little bit concerned. I'm going to be honest. But I already was coming into testing. The things we've heard coming out of McLaren in the last couple of weeks have not been positive at all. The vast majority of what we've heard coming out of McLaren has been, yeah, you know what, we've not hit the targets that we wanted to set ourselves. We're probably going to struggle for the first few races, but we're going to try to get these upgrade packages in. We're going to try to make it all work. And fingers crossed they do, because I'm a McLaren fan. So fingers crossed they do. Ocon Gasly will turn out close to Ocon Perez probably, unless one of them obliterates the other. But I don't see that. No, I don't either. I think those. Basically, what you've got is two incredibly feisty drivers who have a history of not getting on, who are very similar pace on actual raw pace, in the same car. So I don't see many ways it ends well, if I'm being brutally honest. And that is absolutely that's fine by me. That is fine by me. Because it's extra drama for us, and we all love some drama. And good stuff for DTS next year. Good stuff. Aston signing all the other teams' heads is really starting to show now. Yeah, and, I've been saying this since about halfway through last year, Aston Martin are going to become a good team. They're going to become a very good team. Team Silverstone they've always been so efficient with the lack of funding they had and the resources they had. They put out some great cars. Now what they've done, they've added to the staff to make it even better. They're building new facilities and they have loads of money to throw at it. So they're only going to get better. They are only going to get better. In my own humble opinion, I think Gasly and Ocon are overrated. I think they're both overrated drivers a little bit. And I think, I potentially agree with that. But I do think there's a problem with saying they're overrated and therefore Alpine are going to have a bad season. Because I don't think that's fair. I think they're both good drivers. Sure, some of their fans will hype them up more than they maybe deserve. And they also maybe get under-hyped by some other fans. But they're still good drivers, and they will put that Alpine in a decent position. I mean, think Ocon won a race in an Alpine. He's not a bad driver. Given the right situation, the right scenario, he can win. So he's not a bad driver at all. And I put Gasly on a fairly similar level overall. Oh, there was a purple mini sector from Leclerc there. I mean, he's set an absolutely horrendous second sector, so he's not going for it. But both overrated. Wow, I disagree. Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's people who underrate them and people who overrate them. You know, it's quite hard. I mean, it depends what kind of media you're consuming, whether they're overrated or underrated. They're both good drivers, but some people will say they're phenomenal and some people say they're rubbish. It depends who you listen to. Me, the greatest opinion maker and future teller of all time, I say they're both very good drivers they're both good drivers who have the ability to do very good things. Unless they're teammates and they crash into each other, which is going to happen. So that's unfortunate, but, swings and roundabouts. We both have opinions, yeah. If given a good car, Ocon and Gasly are both good. They are not the best of the best, like Leclerc or Verstappen, but they will perform given the right car for them. And that is, you've summed up my position pretty well there. They're not part of that elite category, but given a good car, they will perform well. And I think that's the same for a lot of drivers on the grid, to be honest. Sargent has a bright future. Yeah, I mean, he's not put a foot wrong today. Really. So, how many laps has he got in his way? He's got 152 laps, and there's still 23 minutes left. He might beat Verstappen's record from yesterday here. There's a very good chance he's going to do it. Yes, it's your opinion. I respect. I mean, that's fair. Like, we're all going to have different opinions. That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. Sargent has a bright future. But yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that because I'm interested to see what Sargent will do this year because honestly, he's not a bad driver either. He's a good driver, and I think a couple of years down the line we can put him on that sort of Gasly Ocon level. I think that's sort of what his level is. So good F1 driver will hang around the sport. That's at least what I think. But yeah, so what's going on out on track? We have, I think, it's like a couple of improvements there. 23.9 from Verstappen in Sector 3. 24.1 from Hülkenberg and 24.1 from Leclerc. Oh, sorry, 24.7 from Hülkenberg. 24.1 for Leclerc. I was looking at one and said the other. But yeah, let's take a look at the speed trap data again, because this is really interesting. People who are just joining, the speed trap data on this one is looking a little bit more interesting than yesterday. So Hülkenberg and Magnussen hold the Speed Trap 1 and Speed Trap 2 records at the moment. But if we take a look at what Leclerc was able to do as his best Speed Trap time, he's only 1 kilometre an hour off on each of them. So that shows, Leclerc's sort of there or thereabouts. Again, Ferrari... So it seems the Ferrari power units might be a little bit higher level, or they're running lower fuel today. But it's all fairly close. Verstappen, it looks like, he's been sandbagging, as in higher fuel or just lower engine mode, because he's a couple of kilometers an hour down, and he did top, I think it was a Speed Trap 1 and 2 yesterday. I know he topped 2 of them anyway. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a drop in straight line speed from the Red Bull, so there's definitely more to give, and if we see a quali sim a little bit later on, we will see that change. I'm almost 100% certain of that. Then we've got Piastri in the McLaren. 1 kilometre off there, 5 and 6 off. So maybe McLaren going a little bit, especially Norris this morning. He did not get a single performance run in. That is very clear. And I mean, also for anyone just joining, you know why I say don't look at the times, don't pay any attention to the don't pay attention to the times. Well, look who's winning. That's why we're not paying attention to the times yet. Tomorrow, when everyone's done C4, C5 runs, we can look at it a lot more. But today and yesterday, just don't really look at them. It doesn't tell us too much at the moment. Obviously, if someone's 10 seconds off the pace consistently and we just see nothing from them, then we could probably write them off this year. But, it's not too bad. I wouldn't say we're in a unique position in testing at the moment where, and this doesn't happen most years, I don't think anyone's in a really bad position. I really couldn't say. Sorry, but Ocon couldn't tie Gasly's shoelaces if he tried. Well, we'll see this year, won't we? We'll see this year. We'll see what happens. We're only about 8 days away. In my opinion, Ocon and Gasly's going to be a pretty close fight. Ocon probably edges it over the course of a season, to be honest. But Gasly also showed in his rookie career great pace. And if he's finally in a happy team environment that's really going to support him and he can do well, then we might see the best of him again. They say it's brave to stick to the concept because they're closing the gap. Change will make it hard to catch up. If Aston could truly run in a season and if Aston could truly turn in a season and catch not only Merck but go past, it's what they'll say. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Aston Martin's really interesting this year because they've made big radical changes because Dan Fallows has come in and he's just come from Red Bull, who's been doing a lot of work with this these years car, this era of aero regulations. He did a lot of work at Red Bull with that, so they're bound to have somewhat similar designs, but he has taken it in a slightly different direction still. It's not a copy and paste. It's not a green Bull like it was the pink Mercedes and stuff like that. It's not a direct copy. They've just gone for the sort of core philosophy. And I think that comes more from just having Dan Fallows on the staff. What were the changes with the tyres? So we have the testing tyre that we have. We have a random testing tyre. And we also have the C1 tyre is new. That's a new compound. And the C1 tyre from last year has become the C0 tyre. So we now have C0, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6. Rather than last year not having a C0. But the C0 is not the new tyre, the C1 is a new tyre, and it comes in between the old C1 and the old C2 because there was too big a gap. I think I've explained that well because it's incredibly confusing. Maybe Alpha just produced Grace car full time. I mean, yeah, who knows, But that's the thing with pre-season testing. They might have just produced a really, they might have been on really high fuel loads because look at their speed trap. They're not setting the world alight in the speed trap there. They just had grip through the corners with those C5 tyres. So, it's not too bad. Added another compound, C0 and AJ. Yeah. With Aston, I think we're going to see something amongst the lines of 2020 Racing Point, fighting for points and being actually decent. Yeah, I think there's potential it could even be a little step up on that. Not a lot. I mean, I'm speaking like half a tenth for 10th relative to the front runners. But yeah, no, it bodes well for them. It bodes really well so far. Tomislav Petrovic. Remember, hey bro, remember me? I am the guy who saved Shuey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And yes, I do remember you in the chat. Still free compounds for race weekend? Yes. As far as I'm aware, unless they have changed that rule, which I don't think they have because I'd have heard about it. It is still free compounds per race weekend. And in fact, I think for the first 3 races, the compounds that are being used have been confirmed. So, yeah. I think all of that data is out there. So Verstappen out on track. Let's go back to these tyres away from the speed trap for a minute. So yeah, tyres. We've got Leclerc out on a... I'm not sure if that's just not updating, to be honest, because I feel like unless he's just coming in and out the pits repeatedly and putting on new sets of mediums to sort of get them scrub. I don't know. Imagine Aston pulls up on the first race 2.5 seconds quicker than anyone and Alonso wins his third title. I mean, I don't know. I mean, based on the fact the season will be incredibly boring, I maybe don't want that. But I'd say categorically, Alonso does deserve another title. He's a good enough driver to... If it was almost criminal, he ends his career with only 2 titles. But then again, when you think about it, 2 titles is good, Getting 2 world championships in Formula 1 is very good. I guess it's all we've sort of been diluted by, the Schumacher and Hamilton years where, we start thinking, oh yeah, 7, 8 titles, that's completely normal, that's very normal to do. It's not. It's really not. Throughout the history of the sport, you never got people winning that many championships. Any idea why Zhou and Sargent are driving both sessions today? Same for Bottas and Albon tomorrow, or just because they have less experience? Just curious as a Finn as to where Valtteri is. Yeah, I wouldn't say you can. I wouldn't say there's a lot to read into there. I don't think it's I wouldn't even call it like favourites. If anything, it's a good sign for the drivers that were left out today. Oh, we've got an issue with the Williams. Logan Sargent having to jump out the car. I think I cursed him by saying he could beat... Yeah, I think I cursed him by saying he could beat Max's tally. Because I think he's about three behind what Max managed last season. I'm not... Yesterday, sorry, last session. Is that a practice? I'm not sure. It looks like it might be a practice of Sargent getting out the car there. Because, it's not like the mechanics are rushing onto it or anything. But they have got the gloves out. But again, this could be a drill. I think it's a drill. I think they're just doing a drill. What happened to the mug? So apparently hydraulics issue, I've been told. But honestly, I was driving home at the time and I completely missed whatever happened. Because I've run out of mobile data because I was watching it when I was driving in the other days. So I ran out. Alonso fans. What was the problem with George's car? So yeah, apparently hydraulics. That's what I've heard. That's the very limited what we heard. So yeah, here's Gasly on the test tyre, for if anyone wants to know sort of like what that is. It's the test tyre. So intervals, gap, so teammate. That's quite funny because relative to teammate. position. So yeah, Zhou recently moved himself up 7 places with a good lap. So yeah, Zhou currently top of the timesheets somehow. A yellow flag sector 2, and that's still the yellow flag out in sector 2. But there was, oh, this is the VSC test. That's what it is. VSC test. Forgot about that. So I don't know. I mean, there was chat this morning that Ferrari were going to get their they were going to get a high speed run in with Leclerc. So hopefully, I'm going to keep an eye on these tyres. I feel like that's the best one to sit on at the moment, because if we see someone coming out on a fresh set of C4 tyres, they're going for a quali run because they this is their last chance. We only have 3 days of testing, and only one driver can go in the afternoon in the prime conditions tomorrow. So surely we're going to see a quali run. I mean, Zhou was already a quali run. That's what that lap was. So we'll see. Do you think Mercedes will win a world championship? I don't think it's impossible. I think they have a higher chance than last year. It all comes down to how much Red Bull are actually limited in their development this year. It all sort of comes down to that. How much timing is remaining in the session? Just at the bottom there, you can see 12.5 minutes remaining. So yeah, 13 minutes, yeah. Basically, that little timer down there that I've got going. I can't tell if they're practicing with the Williams here, or I don't know, to be honest. Also, it was a very chaotic practice start that we had earlier, wasn't it? Very chaotic. That could have been a crash. That could have been... If it was who was it who was behind Lando on the grid? Was it like an Albon or something? I don't know, because Sargent's in the car all day. Who was it? Whoever it was that was in front of that was behind Lando. If he went and then the car behind him went, Lewis probably would have hit Lando because it would have been blind to it. So yeah, that was a very chaotic practice start. Very chaotic. Zhou playing on 50 AI. Gotta go. It's been fun. Have a good day, everyone. Yeah, you too. You too. Have a good day. Have a good day. And see you later. Signs. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I remember seeing it at the time going, oh, who was that? Who was that? And I couldn't remember who it was. So yeah, thank you for that. Fernando Alonso, 3-time world champion F1. That might be a little optimistic. I think I'd love to see him in the battle. Like, I think my dream F1 title fight for a bit now has been Verstappen, Hamilton, Alonso. Can you imagine the toxicity and the fireworks that's going to come from that? I would love it. I would love it. Yeah, what in the practice start? I didn't watch it. Yeah, so it was a bit chaotic. Basically, they lined up on the grid. They did an abandoned start the first time, or aborted start first time. Ran back, did it again. And then the lights, lights come up, 5 red lights out, and away we go. And only like 2 cars went, but some of the cars at the back went as well. And it was all really messy and could have ended up in like a bit of a crash. So we've got practice with a red flag as well now on track. So we've got a red flag out on the circuit. What F1 team do you support or drive it? So I have been since I started watching F1 back in like 2008-ish, 2009, whatever it was. I have always been a McLaren McLaren fan and a Button fan normally. But obviously he's not there anymore. I wish he was, but he's not. So now a Lando Norris fan because I sort of saw him in karting and I guess I've followed him since. So this is quite cool to see him in F1 now. Very cool. Zhou parked next to the track in the pit. Oh, AO, sorry. In the pit lane, not on track. Yeah, so it was, I'm not sure what that was. I don't know if that's like an electrical thing, engine thing, or if they realised it was maybe going to be a red flag. So what's he done? He's done a burnout. He's done another burnout. He's done another burnout. And then parked up. Does he stall? Does he stall it maybe? We got an RS. It came up with a... Oh, it's race start mode. Okay. Well, that didn't sound great. Yeah, that didn't sound good. That really didn't sound good. McLaren not looking good, bro. Unfortunately, no, they're not. They're not. I knew it was going to be rough this year, to be honest. The things coming out of the team have been really negative so far, so I'm not shocked that they're not doing too hot right now. I'm really not surprised. Fernando Alonso, the best driver ever! Maybe. That's a nice idea for a freeway title fight, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately for you. Hulkenberg is going to run away with it, consistently finishing P4 while the others crash. Fair point. Yeah, I mean, like I say, that would be, you point out there, there'd be a few crashes. There would be a couple of crashes between those three. I don't know if they'd manage a freeway crash, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I think Oh god, yeah. Between them, if they were in like equal-ish cars, they'd be crashing into each other every week. It'd be amazing. What do you think about Mercedes? I mean, it's really okay. It's really tricky with Mercedes so far because they clearly don't have any like fundamental flaws with the car, which I don't know if that's a good or bad sign because we haven't seen pace from them yet. You know, and the car doesn't look. It's not the most drivable car on the grid. It doesn't look like the best car out there. That still looks to be the Red Bull. From what I've seen, like all the onboards that we've seen, the Red Bull still looks like the strongest car. So I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one with Mercedes because we really don't know. Like we really genuinely don't know what they're gonna do. Why do small team is so speed? Performance runs a little bit more. So the smaller teams don't have to hide their pace as much because they know realistically they're not going to be the quickest car out there on the track. And, you know, everyone's not going to be looking to copy them. So they don't have to hide their speed as much as, let's say, the Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. Because if those guys went at their full pelt, they'd probably be about a second quicker at the moment. So, and then everyone will just be copying their designs. Which, to be honest, most teams are anyway. But it's just a thing you do in testing. It's just a thing you do. Hulk and Haas, K-Mag and Haas, I'm ready for this year. Let it come. I think that's like the ultimate vibe team. Like, I'm so happy that that lineup exists. And they're just going to be my happy guys, you know? Hopefully they don't crash with each other. That'd be annoying. So much terrorism would occur in that season. 21 would seem insignificant. Exactly that. And that's why I sort of want it to happen. Obviously, Twitter would become even more of the absolutely awful hellscape that it is. But honestly, for a title fight between those three, I might accept that. So, right, there's some shiny sidewalls on that Red Bull. So maybe we're going to get a little bit of a performance run. Maybe a little bit more aggressive. You know, maybe Max wants to top today's running. Just a thought. Basically, Max, please go really quick because I want to see a quick lap time. The driver who dethroned Michael Schumacher was Fernando Alonso. Yeah, true. Yeah. Guys, chill out. Good vibes in chat. Wait, what's happening? I've missed stuff. I've been following you since that live stream of Verstappen touching Lewis's rear wing in 2021. You know, I don't even remember that live stream. I remember all of that happening, but I think I was doing so many streams around then. I forgot some of them. Who's my best driver ever? I'm in the camp of I give a really boring answer for this. You can't compare. I can give you the best driver from each era in Formula 1, but you know, the difference between Vettel and the difference between, like, let's say Verstappen now, a Senna, you know, Jim Clark back in the day, it's so different. I don't think you can have a definitive GOAT. I just don't think you can. When are you going to do a fan meetup? I mean, I don't know, maybe if loads of you go Silverstone or something, but I don't think there's an easy way to do that. Maybe at 100k, you know, maybe. Also, if you're new here, can we get to 11.5k? That's what our current goal is. That is our road to thing. So if you're new here and you're not subscribed already, it'd be very cool, and I'll give you a thumbs up and say you're cool if you do, and if you don't, fair play. Not judging. So what have we got? Where do I live? Well, I'm in the UK, England in this case. Do you think Mercedes can win the title? Okay, so like I said a few minutes ago, it comes down to how well Red Bull develop. If Red Bull are really hindered in development, like the wind tunnel, limits would suggest they might be, then yeah. Same with Ferrari. Ferrari and Mercedes could both win a championship. But if Red Bull come out in the first half of this year, they win, I'd say the magic number for them is about 2/3 of the races with Max. If Max can win 2/3 of like the first half of the season, they should be okay. That's enough of a lead where even if you come 4th or 5th most races, you'll be fine. Chucking a few retirements from other drivers, you should be okay. A bit of a Braun-esque situation where they got all their points really early on in the year, and then it sort of just, they lost the advantage because everyone else got the double diffuser set up. Start aborted, extra formation lap. So we're getting another practice start. Will this be a proper practice start? Unlike what happened this morning, which was all a little bit of a mess. Are we about to get an actual good standing start? No, it's a start safe apparently, so we're not getting a very good one. They've added the extra 15 minutes just to put nothing in it, and that's quite depressing. Because these extra 15 minutes on the end of each session should be a really fun, yeah, let's go for it sort of, you know, but it's not. They're doing all boring safety stuff in it. We don't need safety. Well, what's this rubbish? Do you think Lewis Hamilton should leave? I wouldn't say there's anything to say he should at the moment. If he gets absolutely battered by Russell this year, then if I'm Lewis, I'm leaving. I'm just like, yeah, I'm done now. Aston Martin improved or not? Yeah, massive improvement. Yeah, Aston Martin will be, I mean, what was it? Someone said they were like 6/10 up on their best time from qualifying last year already. Yes, Aston Martin are a lot quicker than last year. No doubt about it at all. The two best drivers in motorsport history, Fernando Alonso and Marc Marquez. Fair opinion. He can have it. Do you think that George will be top over Lewis? I mean, I don't know. Last year, I think a lot of it was Lewis sort of sacrificing his own races to sort of test stuff on the car, whereas George was just like, yeah, you know, I'm in a new team, I need to get used to the car sort of thing. So, you know, it's not cut and dry where they are at the moment. There's very much a chance that George could beat Lewis, but I don't know. I feel like Lewis might just edge him in the races this year. I think it'll be just, but I think he might just edge him. Well, the voicing as well. Rumour has it Lewis is idol is Ayrton Senna. What do you think about that? I mean, I don't think that's a rumour. But yeah, no, I think, you know, and when Lewis was a junior driver, that was very clear. Ah, yeah, safety, boring. We want to see blood and torn up limbs. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's very exciting, isn't it? You know, we live back in like the Roman Empire and stuff. We're just gonna go into an arena and beat each other up. You know, this is how it goes. That's how it goes these days. I'm dreaming for a five total. Yeah, let's try that again. I'm dreaming for a third title for Alonso. Fair play. Do you like football? If you like football, which club is your favourite? Yes, I am a Nottingham Forest fan. We're not going down. So, yeah, I can't even be bullied. We're doing well. When are you going to do a house tour? I mean, it's not my house. I am a uni student who has decided that living from my proper home is a hell of a lot cheaper than living in student accommodation like I did last year. So I just do a commute every day. It's well over an hour commute, but it's fun. I'd enjoy it. Get the radio on. Get F1 testing on. I'm alright. Yeah, saved a lot of money doing that. A lot of money. Plus, it means I can have a more permanent setup here. I'm thinking we're going to get a display cabinet back there. And I'm going to put like F1 merch stuff in it. Because currently my bed's there. But I'm thinking of moving that further down the room. And then, yeah, basically I'm going to make the background a bit more exciting. Because I appreciate at the moment it's not. We've got some grey curtains on a lovely grey wall with a flag. So we can make it a little more exciting. You're year 3, aren't you? Year 2. Well, only 5 points from relegation, so who knows what's... Yeah, but just let me have this. Just let me think we're safe. It'll make me feel happier. It makes me sleep better at night, knowing that we might not go down. I know it's a close one, but we might not go down. Who has top cornering speed? I'm not sure about cornering speed. I mean, it looks like it could very much be... the Red Bull. If we're talking about how well the cars are running, you know, like, yeah, it's probably Red Bull. So we are out of time in the session. The session has drawn to an end. Any giveaways, free Silverstone tickets, maybe free F1. I mean, there's a big price gap between those two, to be fair. I don't think there's any Silverstone tickets left either. Also, no, that's way too expensive. I don't have enough money for that. I mean, if you guys want to get me to, like, you know, 100k and stuff, you know, if you want to share it with all your friends and families, they don't have to watch, you know, all you guys here. If everyone here made everyone they know subscribe to the channel, then we'll do it. I'm shameless. So let's take a look at the speed trap data again, because that for me is one of the more interesting things, because we can take a look at who was really pushing. Okay, so that's unchanged. So Hulkenberg and Magnussen, so the Haas drivers, still in the first and second speed trap splits, the quickest. Charles Leclerc, only 1 kilometre an hour off in both. So it seems like the Ferrari engines were that little bit more aggressive today. They were turned up a little bit more. All right, lads, where's the bots out? Will it be broadcast tomorrow? What do you mean? Like the session? There will be that. Yeah, like today, that will be broadcast. I'm not 100% sure how much streaming I'll be able to do tomorrow, but we'll do it anyway. So I'm not rounding up the stream, so we won't discuss that yet. 4th DRS to Albert Park does not say safe. No, I mean, put it this way: if it wasn't safe, they wouldn't do it. Yellow flag seems likely in Australia. I mean, yeah, but you know, you get crashes in Australia anyway. Like, it's a track that does lend itself to some accidents. So, I don't know. I'd say it's part and parcel of the sport, isn't it? And if it improves the show as well, I don't think it's too dangerous. Like, from what I've seen, it seems okay. And obviously, fingers crossed, it won't be dangerous, because that would, well, it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal if people get injured. But yeah, Australia GPR 4th DRS, yeah. Dragon Shoe weird. Do you love? So yeah, any comments on today? Sort of, anything along those lines? Do send them my way. We'll sort of do a bit of a review on the running today, because I was able to watch quite a lot of it. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of a rundown on today. The driver who best evolves the cars, Fernando Alonso. Yeah. I mean, I'd say so. I mean, some of the feedback he can give is really, he's got a lot of experience. There's a lot of good feedback he can give. Do I think Mercedes can win the title? Probably not. I think there's a, they can do it, but I think it would require Red Bull basically not developing their car all season, and I think that's quite unlikely. Ferrari might have a shout. Everyone at Red Bull just looks happy. They look confident. They have the best sort of noise coming out of there at the moment. It all just seems really positive. It just seems really positive for them at the moment. Guys, don't forget to leave a like to support the channel. Thank you very much, Imran. And yes, if we can get to 50 likes, I will not do a dab. If we don't get to 50 likes, then I'm going to do a dab, and then you've got to witness a dab, and that's just, you don't want to see that, do you? I wouldn't want to see that. So if you like. How good do you think Mercs will be? So if I'm... Okay, so based on where they're at the moment, I would say probably still third quickest, but I don't know. The car doesn't look great. It doesn't look like it's a really, really great car at the moment. So it's hard. Yeah, I don't know. I'd put them third, but I think maybe a little bit further behind than they were at the end of last season. Yesterday I said they'd probably be about where they were at the end of last season. But now I think I might put them a little bit lower. Just, half a tenth for 10th, not a lot, but just a little bit. Because I think there's a decent chance they could end up sort of coming under threat from the Aston Martins, for example, because they look really quick. Especially Alonso. Not sure Stroll will be able to sort of match what Alonso's able to do, but yeah. I really do. I'll rephrase that. Stroll will not be able to match what Alonso's going to do in that car. So when we get to session 3 tomorrow, though, which I'm really looking forward to, because that is when we'll start to see the proper performance runs. We had heard that Charles Leclerc, the plan was to do a performance run tonight, and whoever tweeted that lied. In fact, actually, no, I don't think anyone tweeted. I think that was Alex Jakes that mentioned it in the morning session. So I'm disappointed in you, Alex. You're one of my favourite commentators, and you've just lied. You've lied to me. I'm heartbroken. What do you think about the RB19? Well, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good so far. I'd say, yeah, I mean, the way the car's handling, or whether that's a setup thing, whatever, it looks like the strongest car at the moment. Definitely. Yeah, testing means nothing. It really just doesn't mean anything at the moment. Like, I mean, look, Zhou Guanyu has topped this session. And if anyone's going to honestly sit here in this chat and say that Zhou is going to be world champion this year, you're valid, your own opinion's valid, but you are wrong. So, yeah, that just sort of shows, don't read into these times too much. Still, just don't read into them that much. Because Felipe already did the morning session in day 1. So, yeah, so Felipe Drugovich will be doing the morning session on day 3, and Alonso will be doing the afternoon session. So that's the plan. Red Bull get another championship, and Mercedes will cry. Maybe. I don't think they'll have a lot to cry about. There's like very clean. Maybe they could have a debate about like, oh yeah, well clearly the punishment for the cost cap wasn't strong enough or whatever. I think that's the only argument any team could make really. That's right. Let's update to day 3 and let's get the new countdown going. So this is the countdown for our final day of pre-season testing for the 2023 Formula 1 season. And to be honest, I still don't, I'm not 100% which way this championship's going to go. I'm really not. Yeah, no, I'm really genuinely not sure because I think it, like, I've already said this, but more people are coming, more people are going. I think it just feels like it could be a bit of a Brawn-esque, 2009-esque season where Red Bull are really strong at the start of the year, but then Ferrari and Mercedes sort of come into their own. They have good development over the course of the year. Obviously, we know Red Bull are severely limited by coming first in the Constructors' Championship and then their 10% penalty as well. That will limit them. It will limit the amount of development they can do, and it will probably cost them a good 10th, 2 tenths at the end of the year. It genuinely could have a real impact. So yeah, we'll see. Lando! I mean, I like a bit of Lando. What do I think about Aston? Yeah, they're the team that are going to make the biggest step. They should, I would say, comfortably be the 4th quickest team this year, from what I've seen so far. Ferrari engine looks better now, makes me happy. Hopefully it doesn't blow up as often as last year. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And it's looking reliable. There's not been any massive concerns on that front. So, fingers crossed, Ferrari is reliable. They don't need to turn it down midway through the season like last year, because that's where Ferrari's pace mostly went. They had to turn their engine down. After Azerbaijan, a double DNF, they had to turn the engines down. They couldn't be doing that. And then obviously, Austria signs on fire as well. It's not a good look for the brand. Honestly, at some point, you'd rather just be driving around, getting easy podiums, coming 2nd and 3rd, than breaking down every week. So, it's a tricky one. Oh, my hair's really annoying me. It's a tricky one. Do you see any disappointed faces in the teams? I'd say really it's only McLaren that would be disappointed at the moment. I think that's just because they haven't met the performance targets that they set themselves. Zach Brown came out and said this earlier today. They've just not met the targets that they wanted to. And I think that's more frustration than anything, like too disappointed. It's more, okay, right, let's get this working. Let's fix this. And that's what they're going to have to do. That's the right mindset that they need. That's the mindset they're definitely going to need. So, yeah. I've watched the last 20 minutes as I was at work. Did anything exciting happen? No, it was an incredibly boring last sort of 20, 30 minutes. Nothing happened at all. And I'm not even being sarcastic, nothing happened at all. We had a practice start, we had, I'm not even going to say what, just nothing happened. Red Bull era, potentially. I mean, obviously, look, you can see how strong a start they've had to this new era of technical regulations, and I think when we go away from engine dependency, like we had in the last era, to a more aero-dependent setup, yeah, I mean, you've got Adrian Newey at Red Bull. He's the best at what he does. He's Adrian Newey. He's the best at what he does. Red Bull are always going to be strong, and they always will be as long as they have him. Aston's pace is good with C3, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, good lap. Nothing wrong. There was nothing to be concerned about as an Aston Martin fan right now. If anyone's fan, like an Alonso fan or like one of the, the Silverstone based team, you've just got nothing to worry about at the moment. It's like when say Newcastle. It's like if you're a Newcastle fan right now, even if you don't necessarily win everything this year, you're going to win stuff. That's the thing. You're all of the good stuff is yet to come. So for Aston Martin, it's looking great. Year on year, they have to be improving, and they will. Year on year, I think they will improve. Dangzhou, what the hell? Yeah, I know. I mean, not a bad job. But again, I'm not using this as a well done Zhou Guanyu. That's not what this is. This is a don't look at the times because they mean nothing. The times mean absolutely nothing, as you can see, because Zhou Guanyu has just topped that session. Yes, he was on a set of C5 tyres, and actually, if anything, if he was on low fuel, but it does look. If I'm going to go back to the speed trap, speed trap data is already up. So if we look at the speed trap data, he was 2, 4, and 2 kilometers an hour off. So it's not like they turned the engine up. The engine mode's up loads. It's not like they've really reduced the fuel loads or anything. It does just seem like all of that pace came from testing out the tyre. So it probably wasn't a performance run or anything like that, but because of the nature of the tyre they were on, it topped the timing sheet. And it's good for them. It's a good morale booster for the staff tonight, so it's fine. Time is a joke. Yeah, just purely ignore it. Oh, I got Merc sandbagging traditions. You see, Mercedes never do well in preseason testing. They don't. They never do well. And the car always looks loose in preseason testing as well. So it's like, can we? We can't. It's so hard to read anything into testing. But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at the bits that we actually can decode, and I think a lot of that comes from the drivability. And yeah, the Mercedes isn't looking too hot at the moment. The Red Bull looks great to drive. Looks absolutely phenomenal to drive. It doesn't look remotely challenging. Ferrari had a couple of like small moments, but nothing to be really too concerned about. Again, that car looks great to drive as well. Aston Martin, Alonso has just got to grips with it so quickly. He looks like he's really sort of turned it on. And this should be a good year for him. Fully expected to be a good year for him. Timings for OBS, yeah, absolutely. Ferrari look good. Hello, Avas. How you doing? Ferrari look good on the long runs. Yes, they look better. They look better on the long runs this time than they did on day one yesterday. Yeah, they were matching Red Bull or maybe a tenth back. Yeah, and it's a lot more encouraging this session. I keep saying this year as if the last testing session was a year ago and not 12 hours or 24 hours ago. What is time? What is time? But yeah. Yeah, no, it looked a lot better. The long run data yesterday, I think, gave Red Bull I think it's about a 3/10 advantage. But then again, Charles Leclerc did say this morning, he told the media, he was like, yeah, we were just running the extremes of all the setups, you can't read into day one testing, especially, and I made that very clear yesterday. We can't read too much into it. And it seems Ferrari's plan was basically just go really into the extremes on all of the setups and just sort of see what works and what doesn't, to get a better understanding of what changes, what differences each change will make. And that's a really good idea. I remember how the first time I watched a stream a year ago, I have no idea how that was a year ago. The preseason testing stream last year, how that was already a year ago, I have got no idea at all. Any thoughts on Alpine? Haven't heard much except pit stop issues. Yeah, I mean, they've been really quiet. And, when a team's quiet in testing, that's good. It means they don't have all that hype around them. But they're quietly confident. That's what we keep all this morning we heard, Alex Jakes, Will Buxton going, yeah, you know what? They're really quietly confident. They've got two good drivers. I wouldn't say, the best drivers on the grid, but they've got two solid drivers there. There's no reason at all that they can't, get good points this year. There's no reason at all. So what we got? Any thoughts, Happy? Hope to see everyone using C4 or C5 tomorrow. We will. If the teams, if we don't see everyone on a C4 or C5 at some point, it's just weird. Like we always get performance running at some point. And I guess this is one of the problems with the fact that we do have the first race in a week's time. We'll have just finished watching the practice session, practice 2, this time next week. So the season's just around the corner. So is there any incentive to do a performance run unless you really need that data? I'm not part of the strategist department, and neither are you guys. So there's no way to know what the teams are actually looking for at the second in time. Whether they're really confident that their package is going to work in a performance run, so they don't need to, they feel they don't need to do this. But no, I mean, tomorrow we should see at least half the grid giving the C4 and C5 a go. At very least half the grid. Did George have a hydraulic issue? Yeah, so that's what we've heard. Before it's on Mercedes, will they be competitive after this issue? I mean, I don't think the issue is going to make them less competitive. Yeah, it's a little reliability concern, but it was late in the day. They did a lot of laps before that. It's proven it's a reliable car for the most part. As for most of the cars, we've not had a lot of breakdowns for pre-season testing. We have not had a lot at all, and that's really encouraging. But yeah, Mercedes, it doesn't look like the most drivable car at the moment. A lot of that may come down to fine-tuning the setup. And, I mean, that's how it normally works anyway. A lot of pace comes from fine-tuning the setups. So don't be shocked if we do see them turn it round. But yeah. I think at the moment they're third. Aston Martin may be a close fourth at the start of the season. But Mercedes should outdevelop Aston Martin and maybe even Ferrari. And I don't want to say definitely Red Bull, because obviously Red Bull have such big penalties on their wind tunnel testing time. Hulk was on mediums? I think so, wasn't he? I think so. I think I remember the lap he was. I think it was only really Zhou who gave it a go on the C4s, C5 sort of tyres. I think Merc have balance issues. They can, yeah, and that's the thing with Mercedes. I don't. They've not got some major fundamental flaw like they did last year with the porpoising. It just seems to be, yeah, the car's not handling great at the moment, and you can work on that. That's very fixable, very fixable. Well, got Russell caught some sand in his hydraulics. Oh, is that what I've heard for that? Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're in the desert. That's always a concern when you're doing a lot of running like the car is. It can accumulate a lot of sort of small debris. So yeah, that's not a surprise. Actually, we need good championship. We'll have a lot of surprises with 23 Grand Prix. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the thing that sort of leads me to saying we might have a surprise winner this year. Is just how many Grand Prix there are, because really, the results in sporting events a lot of times are basically just statistics. It's like, yeah, like 10% of the time you get a shock podium. It just depends when that happens. It's the same with football. Like, yeah, a certain percentage of goals will have over this amount. A certain percentage of games will have over this amount of goals, and a certain will have under. Like, it all falls into broad statistics. The more races you have, the higher chance of a shock. We spin that roulette every race. There's a 1% chance for a shock win. You have 23 races a year. You've got a higher chance that we'll land on that 1% one time. It's just how it works. Who will retire first, Alonso, Hamilton, or Perez? Whew, okay, that will come down to whichever of them want to go the longest, to be honest. If Hamilton gets absolutely destroyed by Russell this year, I see no point in him carrying on. This is a very important year for Lewis. He's got to beat George Russell. Otherwise, the hopes of another title is gone completely. If he's comfortably beat, if he's marginally beat and it's like a bit competitive race by race, maybe some bad luck here or there for both drivers, you carry on, give it another go. But yeah, no, if he's thoroughly beat, then he might have to call it time, just because, unless he just wants to continue driving around with a pay packet, a bit like we saw with Raikkonen. We knew Raikkonen was never gonna, win. He was never gonna win many races. He wasn't gonna win a championship. But he was just driving around. He's just living his life. He's like, yeah, I enjoy driving. I'm going to drive. So, yeah, it depends what they all want to do, really. Alonso, I think if Aston Martin are strong, could go for another year after this. I'd be shocked if he does another 2 years, because that'll make him, 45 or something, which is just, that's old. That's normally in F1, at 40, you're well past the normal pension age. So, yeah, that's pushing it quite a lot. Perez is first to go. That's a decent guess. What's caused the hydraulic issue? Oh god, we can't really know that. I don't think the team will ever release that information. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever know what caused the hydraulic problem. Teams don't come out and sort of explain what went wrong, because it's just bad PR. If you do something wrong at work, you're not going to run around going, yeah, this is why it happened. Look at my incompetence. It's fine. No one does that. They don't want to show off when they're bad. They'll show off when they're good. When something goes well, they'll explain why it went well and stuff like that. But yeah, when things are going bad, they'll sort of just shut up shop and go, yeah, no, it's not, it's not great, not ideal. Wish we were doing better. That sort of PR line that you have. But yeah, I agree. But think Hamilton is done after this year. I don't know. If Hamilton's there, or if Hamilton wins the title this year, maybe if he wins the title, he does retire. But I think if Hamilton's close to winning the title this year, but doesn't win it, he might carry on. I think he'll carry on for another year. I mean, we're hearing positive things when it comes to the contract negotiations between Hamilton and Mercedes at the moment. It all seems really positive in the media. So, I don't see him retiring soon. I don't see that as being like an imminent threat. I agree, but I think Hamilton's done for this year. Can you see midfield emerge like Brawn GP and Shock Grid? I mean, the only team that's capable of doing that is Aston Martin at the moment. I'd add maybe Alpine, but I don't think so. I don't think we're hearing that positive, numbers coming from Alpine as we are from Aston Martin. So I think the only shock team that could make a big step, and I think they will make a big step, is going to be Aston Martin. Will it be like a Brawn innovation? No. There's nothing on that car to me that suggests, yes, this is our big thing. Double diffuser on the Brawn, you go, yep, that's going to save you a lot of time if that's legal. And lo and behold, it was, and lo and behold, it saved them a lot of time. There's nothing on the Aston Martin that would make me go, yeah, this is where you're going to gain all that time from. It just seems like a good innovation, or good evolution of what they had last year. They've gone for much more aggressive undercut side pods like Red Bull have. And yeah, that's Dan Fallows at work. That's what he does. He's, very, very highly rated. Alonso's best bet, Hamilton, Aston Martin, easy 1.1 second behind. Ooh, maybe not that far. Maybe not that far. That's quite a lot. opinion on the team so far. I know, kind of broad question. We'll run it team by team. We'll run it team by team real quick. So Alpine. No, yeah, AlphaTauri. That's who Tsunoda races for. Got confused with Gasly then. AlphaTauri, mixed bag. They got a lot of laps in today, so that's really encouraging from them. Shows good reliability. Yeah, we're yet to see a lot of pace. Nick DeVries obviously sitting there up in P4. Good lap, but I don't think it really means a lot. Lando Norris at McLaren, I think they got a lot of laps in today, trying to catch up from yesterday where they maybe felt they were, they were run a little bit short with reliability problems and things like that. But yeah, McLaren I'm concerned for. I think it's looking like McLaren might end up the 6th quickest team come the start of this season. I think the order at the moment, when we just purely look at the top 6, is Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Alpine, McLaren. And as a McLaren fan, that pains me to say quite a lot. But it's true. I'm not going to sit here and start pushing some false agenda because, I mean, that's not particularly useful for anyone, is it? I'd love to say that they're going to, I'd love to sit here and go, yeah, they're going to do really well. But ultimately, it's just going to make me look stupid. And I don't want to lie to you guys. I don't want to lie. Aston Martin biggest upgrade this season is Alonso. I mean, yeah, but also massive aerodynamical upgrades that have had. They have massively revolutionized that car. But yeah, I mean, Alonso will be a finishing piece in having a successful season this year. 1.5 seconds then. Who do you think is a better driver, Lando or Fernando? Ooh. I think this is one where we're going to have to see them in equal machinery to even attempt to answer that and have no bad reliability or bad luck between either of them. I'd put them currently on level pegging, I think. But then again, Fernando, if he hits, good form this year, he'll be ahead. Why did it say day 12? Why did it not delete the 1? Why did no one tell me it said day 12? There we go, let's change that. There we go. Day 2. We're on day 2 of F1 testing. We haven't got that many days this year. You're a McLaren fan, you're not... No, I love Alonso. I love Alonso to bits. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, Spygate, not the highlight of his McLaren career, be honest. But no, I've got nothing against him at all. What's hydraulic failure? I mean, it depends on what part of the car, but basically, you could either have massive leaks or just the fundamental parts where the hydraulic is stops functioning. That might be a Google if you want to look at each different part and what that could sort of entail, because it varies quite a lot. Merc top pre-season testing last year and were 3rd, so right now they are just chilling. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Zhou Guan Yu topped today's running. Don't look at the times. It's not... Yeah, don't look at the times. Or don't take a lot from the times. You could take some from the times, don't get me wrong. This is still relevant. And when you sort of look at it, probably 6 or 7 out of 10 teams are sort of in the right place. You just don't know which ones they are. And obviously that makes it hard to predict. No one even noticed day 12. I know, I didn't even. I just saw it pop along at the top. I'm like, day 12? No, that's not right. What's your take on McLaren? I think Piastri did better today. Yeah, I mean, Piastri looked like he did... well, he got loads of laps in. He got, up there around sort of where the Ferraris are. Behind Sargent, which might be a little bit concerning for McLaren. But like I say, we're not reading into the times. But, yeah, I don't know. Piastri did really well today, and I think... I was talking to some of my friends at university today. Oh, look at me, university. And yeah, they were saying, do you reckon Piastri could beat Lando? And I was like, no. And I was thinking, oh, no, you know what, though? Piastri's going to be really good. Piastri's going to be very good. I don't think this year Piastri will beat Lando. I feel like that's way too much of a tall order. But 2 or 3 years down the line... Yeah, I mean, as a Lando fan, I'm a little bit concerned that could happen. Piastri's not going to be a slow driver. He's a very good addition to the team. Merc balance seemed to have improved a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's still not as good as I'd like to see from a front-running team, though. For me, Mercedes they're still struggling. Maldonado every day of the week. Maldonado has some incredible pace at times. Yes, he did try to kill everyone at every given opportunity, but apart from that, he was a very quick driver. So yeah, Maldonado all day long. McLaren was easy 4th, yeah, but best bit Ricciardo was a little bit. Yeah, that's that annoyed me this morning. They were talking, or I don't know if it's this morning or the day before. All the days have merged into one. My wake ups are about 5:30 in the morning, so I've got no idea what's happening anymore. But yeah, on one of the morning broadcast, commentary team said, "Oh yeah, you know, Alpine, they just edged McLaren last year because they had a quicker car." I'm like, no, they didn't. McLaren had the quicker car. It was Daniel that let the team down. And that's as a McLaren fan who really liked Daniel Ricciardo. He let the team down last year. He did not score anywhere near enough points, and was nowhere near Lando in most of the races. Yeah. But I thought most races they had the same pace. Had the same pace. Wait, have I missed something in the chat here? Pace. Right. Okay. Yeah. Fernando Alonso will be world champion. I mean, he already has been a world champion, so you're not wrong. Vettel better than Alonso? Ha 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 ha. Even Aston said Alonso is upgraded Vettel. I mean, I think he is. I mean, no, like, yeah, I mean, if you put them both in a car now, but, like, I don't know, the difference in prime Vettel and prime Alonso probably isn't that much. You know, it's not more than a tenth either way, depending on track. I think Lando's a better driver because last season Lando was beating Fernando every single race. They had the exact same pace. Yeah, no, but I think the McLaren was slightly stronger than the Alpine last year. Or Ocon's just really slow. You know, it's one of those two. It's either Ocon's just not very good, or yeah. At least 30% of today's top 10 will not be much better than mid-pack, while the bottom 10 cars may deliver championship fight. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how we go with testing times. Don't read too much into it because it's not really anything at the moment. Thank you for the sub as well. Prime Vettel versus Prime Alonso, too close to call. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's track dependent. That's incredibly track dependent. Bro McLaren looked poor because Daniel McLaren was way better. I think the McLaren was a little bit faster. Not a lot. There wasn't. You said like way better. I don't think it was way better, but I think there was like a tenth there maybe, which is good. You know, that's a good advantage to have. But I think it wasn't much more than that. The difference is that Alonso is still in his prime until he's 60 years old. Yeah, I know. When will he slow down? See you tomorrow, guys. It's 1 a.m. where I'm from. Good night. Yeah, no, absolutely, Imran. Thank you for being around, and good night. You should sleep. You should sleep. Good night. Good night. Prime Vettel is driving a dominant car. I mean, yeah, but so what? You know, like that doesn't make him any worse for it. You know, you can say Prime Hamilton was driving a dominant car. That doesn't make them worse drivers. It just means no one was good enough to match them. Their teammates weren't anywhere near good enough to match them. Watched all race pace programs. Vettel's prime. So if you said something, I think Alonso Alpine was faster than McLaren Norris. Was it? I mean, it's close. It's close either way. I don't think there's a lot in it. I agree with you saying Ocon isn't that good. No offense to Ocon, because in some races last season he didn't even beat the hard track. Yeah, I mean he had some stinkers last year. He had some stinkers, but he also had some good performances. Like don't get me wrong, there was some races where he put in a really good showing for himself. So I don't want to be too harsh to him. Did the motor reliability reduce from last year? I mean, I'd like to see it reduce because for me, the fact that the Mercedes power units had almost no retirements last year, that tells me they were running in way too lower mode and probably losing a lot of performance because of it. So I'd rather see them break down 2 or 3 times this year from, winning positions, because last year they were never in those winning positions. I'd rather see them be much more competitive this year and break down a few times than, not. I don't know. For me, that just annoyed me last year. I'm like, well, the Mercedes hasn't broken down once, so that shows there's a lot. It's very safe. The reliability is very good. Push it a bit harder. You want to break down once or twice a year, because otherwise you're not pushing hard enough. That's my outlook on F1. If you don't crash a couple of times a year as well, you're probably not pushing hard enough. If a driver goes the whole season without making a mistake, that means they're driving very much within their limits, which can be good if their limits are, great. But if they don't make a single mistake all year, you're thinking, well, okay, you've got a lot more time in you. If you push the limit more, you'll go quicker. Yeah, that's my outlook on it. It might be a pretty harsh outlook, but that's what it is. Prime Vettel won 13 races in a row, even with the best car. Yeah. To be that consistent, even with the best car, to win that many races in a row is very impressive. Vettel folded under pressure. Again, yeah, both could be right. Both could be right here. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of debates that happen in Formula 1 where ultimately both people are right, but everyone's so cemented in blind support or like blind hatred, they can't just admit, yeah, at different times in their career, you're both right. You know? Leclerc pretty demolished him, Vettel. Seb became an empty husk after that. Yeah, I mean, he was miserable at Ferrari. Vettel was absolutely miserable at Ferrari. He wasn't getting on well. And that's why I went Aston Martin in the end, you know? A quick recap of the day, please. There wasn't a lot that happened today. It was a very drama-free day on a whole. The only red flag we got that was because of something happening rather than like a procedural red flag was for George Russell breaking down. That was a hydraulic problem. Probably nothing to be too concerned about on Mercedes' ends. Teams just have hydraulic problems. If it's a recurring issue tomorrow and when we get into the season, then yeah, that's a serious problem. But at the moment, it doesn't seem to be too big a thing. They should be okay. I guess Zhou Guanyu putting on, I think it was the C5 tyres in the end. So yeah, obviously he went quickest because he had the quickest tyres on. But it doesn't look like it was too much of a glory run because their speed trap times still aren't that great. So I don't think it was a glory run. I think it was just, you know, they just put quicker tyres on and got pace because of it. Speed trap wise, we're looking at, I think the Ferrari engines turned them up a little bit more today, but we're probably still running fairly high fuel and, you know, hard tyres, medium tyres, things that won't give you too much pace. But on the face of it, with the speed trap data, it does look like the Ferrari power units were turned up a little bit more today than maybe some of the other teams were, but it's pretty close. There's only a couple of kilometers an hour in it, so yeah, I wouldn't say there's too much in it. Vettel pretty much created the Spinella meme. Yeah, that was... it's a good meme. It's a good meme, I'm going to be honest. Felt bad for him, but good meme. Fernando Alonso, again, with the Aston Martin, still looking really strong. Red Bull, I'd say, still the strongest looking car on pure like drivability and performance. Ferrari, again, looking pretty good. No real concerns on their end. Obviously, we yet to see some real pace, but like actual performance-wise, I don't think there's anything to worry about if you're Ferrari at the moment. You got Gasly with the Alpine guys. Alpine have just been quietly getting along with it. You know, they're not going for performance runs, as you can very clearly see. Look at the speed trap times; they are way down, well over 5 kilometers an hour in most of the speed traps. So they're not going for performance running; they go for high fuel, hard tires. You know, don't look at their times really. They're silently getting along with their run program, and now hope that it all turns out well for them. Haas seems to be quite promising. I think they're back to being a fairly reasonable midfield team. I don't think we have a real back marker this year. It doesn't look like we've got a clear back marker. I still think Williams will probably end up being the slowest car, but overall, I don't think we've got like I said, I don't think we've got a clear back marker. So that's fun. I like that. I'm a big fan of there not being a clear back marker because it ultimately means we're going to get more drivers finishing in the points, which means hopefully better racing. That's the hope, at least. Whether it turns out that way, we'll have to wait and see. What other teams have we got on the grid? Sort of mentioned AlphaTauri. It's, again, sort of getting on with it. Nick de Vries, good lap. Yuki Tsunoda got loads of laps in, clearly doing long run performance there. Nick de Vries clearly going for a bit more of a performance run because he was 3.4 seconds quicker than his teammate. So, yeah, maybe lighter fuel there on that one. Especially when we look at how slow Tsunoda was in the speed traps, like way down, almost 10 kilometers an hour. So yeah, Tsunoda, I don't blame him today. Norris as well. Clearly, he was just doing long run, engine turned down, not too much to read into it. I think really again same story with Hamilton. Russell obviously broke down. That's unfortunate. Hydraulic issue on their end, it seems. Perez, Red Bull, like I say, probably strongest team out there at the moment. Perez is doing long runs in the morning. Don't really care about his time. Who else we mentioned? Ferrari, again, looking pretty good. Williams, again, quietly getting on with it. And I think that's all the teams. Aston Martin, still looking great as well. So there we go. I think that's all the teams we've got. Yeah. And it's all looking pretty encouraging on that front. So, yeah. Don't argue with Alonso fans. Is porpoising still an issue? It doesn't seem so. We saw a little bit of porpoising earlier today from the Haas and the Ferrari, but it's not really anything. Like, it's not the issue that it was last year. It's definitely not the issue it was last year. Red Bull pace looks scary. Makes me worry about this season's entertainment factor. Okay, so yeah, I mean, yes, they look really quick at the moment, but they should theoretically have worse development over the course of the season because their wind tunnel reduction from winning the championship and also the deduction for the for the budget cap penalty. So I think we could be in a position. I hope we're in a position, because for me, this is, you have like your cat and mouse sort of season. I like the idea of the mouse being quick out the blocks. The team that's being hunted, quick out the blocks, getting a little head start, and then the cat gets released, gets the scent, and starts catching up Mercedes, Ferrari. They start chipping away at the points, and it all sort of comes down to the last few races, where Mercedes and Ferrari are battling each other to try to catch up with Red Bull. I think that'd be so fun. I think that's the most like interesting way the season could go, and I sort of hope that happens. Yeah, we'll get a boring first few races, but it could set up a really good sort of mid-season and end of season. So I'm happy to sacrifice the start of the season a little bit on enjoyment factor just to have a good finish, to be honest, because that's the bit that lingers. No one remembers, like the cooking process when you're having a meal. You remember how nice that meal was because that was the end product that you got. That was the enjoyable bit. So I'm happy to have a couple of fairly meh races. You guys might not agree with that. You guys might have other opinions, but for me, I'm happy to sacrifice first 7-8 races to have a really good mid and end season. But yeah. Have you ever done shrooms? I mean, first of all, wouldn't admit to that on stream. Secondly, no. But you can do like those psychedelic things. There's one in the Netherlands you can go and do, isn't there? That sounded quite fun. There was a radio presenter that went and did that I listened to. That actually sounded pretty fun. It sounds expensive as well, though, so maybe not. I'm a student. I haven't got money. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Aston Martin is comfortably in the top 3 today. Showed their glimpse of race pace. Yeah, I want to see more of the race pace data, to be honest, because yesterday it seemed the Mercedes and Aston Martin were fairly close on race pace. And if that's the case, we could have... Right, look, you know what happens every time Hamilton and Alonso try to race each other. They're not very nice to each other, are they, really, fundamentally? They race hard, but they race fair. Like, ultimately, it is fair. Like, they're not breaking any rules. It's not like maybe where Verstappen and Hamilton battled a few times, and there was very clearly quite a few rules being broken by them, but it just sort of was let slide. When Alonso and Hamilton race, it's very firm, but legal. So fingers crossed we get some of that. That'd be really fun. Apparently Horner said they might have to spend over the budget cap again. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why the budget cap for me had to be so much stronger. It's because there's no... Yeah. There's no reason now to not... Because the penalty was so sort of soft this time round. A lot of teams... And I said this would be a problem, potentially. A lot of teams will sit there and go, okay, we'll just break it by $1 million or 2. Get an extra upgrade on the car and finish 2 places higher in the constructors. I said this would probably happen. And if that has actually been said, and that is the mindset some of the teams have, then the FIA they've messed up again. But they do that quite often, so it's fair play. Do you think 4-way battle the shit? No. Well, 4 drivers, maybe. 4-way, no. I think Aston Martin won't be in contention for the championship, but they will be in contention for podiums at tracks that suit their car. Then you've got Mercedes, who I think will regularly be getting podiums. They should be, by mid-season, probably the closest they've been since 2021. Ferrari, I think, will be second quickest. And Red Bull, I think, will start fastest, but probably start to fade by the end because they will ultimately get outdeveloped by the other teams. So, yeah, I wouldn't go as far as 4-way title fight. 4-driver title fight, again, I don't think I'd go that far. We can have 3 drivers at a push. I think it might be between Leclerc, Hamilton, assuming he beats Russell, and Verstappen, who maybe gets a few early wins in. It hurts when you rule out Aston. I know, I don't want to be mean. And, look, Alonso, because I know I've gathered you're an Alonso fan. But equally, I don't want to sit here and lie to you to make you feel happy. I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, Aston Martin, they're going to win the championship, because they're not. It's not realistic. You don't get that bigger jump in performance over just a year. That's just not going to happen without a major regulation change. They can make big improvements. Great. And they will. They're going to make great improvements. But yeah. How come you think other teams are outdeveloped Red Bull? Well, because Red Bull have got, about 100 hours less wind tunnel testing time than Mercedes have. They've got big reductions in their CFD time, their wind tunnel time. And those are the 2 predominant things you use to, aerodynamically develop your car. And it is going to hurt them. Horner said this, it will hurt them. Yeah. If they don't get outdeveloped, then they've done a great job. It's not a guarantee they will be, but the odds lean more towards them potentially being outdeveloped because of the penalties that have been applied, because of the sliding scale system that you have. First in constructors gets, what was it, about 70% of the wind tunnel time, and then 10th gets, I think it's 110% of the wind tunnel testing time. Alpine bold prediction of keeping top 4 slot on their car launch seems disappearing now. Yeah, I mean, I thought when they said it was a fairly bold prediction, and Aston Martin looks stronger than Alpine at the moment. That car looks... Okay, no, actually, I lie. It depends on Lance Stroll. Because I think you have two very reasonably paced, equal drivers in Alpine who will both score good points quite regularly. At Aston Martin, you have Fernando Alonso, who, as long as he doesn't have retirements, like we saw last year at Alpine, will perform at a really high level. He'll score a lot of points in that car. Where does Stroll fit into all of this? Will he be able to compete with the Alpines? That's the question. Because Stroll will be slower than Alonso. He's just going to be slower than Alonso. So yeah, that's a good poll. Let's do a quick poll. We haven't done a poll today, and I want to do a poll before we end. So, who will finish the season on more points? On more points. And then the options here are Alpine and Aston Martin. I'm going to pop over to the other tab and we can take a look at the poll as it goes through. So that is the poll that we have got up. Who will finish the season on more points? Is it Aston Martin or Alpine? Let's see. I love watching these early votes come in. I love watching them come in. So Aston Martin, we're leading at the moment. Because for me, it depends on... I would probably vote Aston Martin. I think they might just get more points. But it's very much going to depend on what Lance Stroll we get turn up. Because sometimes you have a really good Lance Stroll who's genuinely a great driver. And other races, he just stinks. His racecraft can be appalling at times. So yeah, it depends which Lance Stroll we get, ultimately. So yeah, that'd be really fun to see. I'll leave that poll running for a bit while we sort of just leave these all times on. So anyone joining can see sort of what's gone on today. Aston Mercedes engine. Yeah, we'll see what the Mercedes engine is going to be able to do this year. Because for me, it was probably one of the weaker engines last year. And maybe they were being too safe. Like his crash with Alonso. Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Alpine, because I rate Gasly over Stroll. And yeah, it could all come down to sort of what the second driver... But I think Alpine will be a fair... I've just got a foot cramp. This is really painful, but I'm trying to talk through it. Oh, this really hurts. This is very painful. Yeah, that hurts quite a lot. Let's bend that backwards. This is an out of context RaceBeacon moment, but I'm in quite a lot of pain right now on my right foot. Yeah, it's going to come down to... This really hurts. This will come down this year to whether Lance Stroll does better than both or maybe one or none of the Alpine drivers. I am in immense pain right now. This really hurts. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Not enjoying this at all. Which is probably what you guys are saying when you watch one of these streams. Bading. Talk about Alpine. Do you think Ocon will show last year's ego by keeping his teammate behind by forcing him off the track as he is his fellow countryman? I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot going on. What happened to me? I've got really bad foot cramp on my right foot right now. It's really painful. There's no debate. He is the best pilot in history, Fernando Alonso. But yeah, talk about Alpine. Do you think Ocon will show last year's ego by keeping his teammate behind, forcing him off the track? Okay, good news, guys. The cramp has gone. I can move my feet again, and I don't want to cry. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting quite a lot of terrorism down at Alpine, and I cannot wait for it. I want all of the terrorism. That's what... Out of context, again, that doesn't sound too great. But no, I mean, I am all for sheer chaos at Alpine this year. It'd be really fun. Really fun. Eat a banana. Is a banana good for cramp? Is that a thing? Is that a genuine thing? I've never heard that before. That really hurt. That was painful. Didn't enjoy that one bit. Oof. I want to be an F1 commentator in the future. I don't think I want to be a commentator. I'd love to, if I ever got the option to do like presenting, then yeah, I'd absolutely take it. And I used to do commentary like even a year ago. I was doing commentary at like, well, the biggest F1 Xbox league racing league there was. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy commentary, but I'd rather do I think I'd rather do some like more presenting stuff. I enjoy that quite a lot. But you get a better chat with that. With commentary, it's more just sort of shout, and then you sort of shoehorn in your knowledge wherever you can. But with these sort of sit downs and just chats, I can blab on about something really in detail, about something that hopefully you guys care about as well. Yes, potassium is what is it? I've never heard that before. What's up with Mercedes? Another bad season. I mean, if you're going purely off the pace of the lap times here, don't base it off that. The actual drivability of their car doesn't look too fantastic, though. Yeah, it doesn't look too fantastic at the moment. Who's your top 5 favourite commentators? You see, right, I love Murray Walker to bits, but honestly, I wouldn't put him in, like, my top... I feel like at times he actually wasn't a great commentator. He was iconic, and I blummin' love him. But I feel like at times he wasn't actually that great a commentator. So I'll probably put him like 3rd or something. Crofty, I feel like makes a lot of mistakes, but I like him, so he can go like 4th. Alex Jakes, I really like as a commentator. I've got to put George Morgan number 1. You guys won't know him, probably. Some of you will. But does he do Formula Region, Euro Cup, and GT Open? I think he does that. But basically, he's a friend of the channel. He's a friend of the channel. I've commentated with him before in the past, and he's also done some shows with us in last year. So, George Morgan number 1. Greatest commentator of all time. And then maybe like Alex Jakes, and then like Murray Walker and Crofty, something. Martin Brundle actually goes number 2. In fact, he might beat George. He might beat George still. I love Martin Brundle to bits. Really nice guy as well. I need to apologise to him next time I see him for interrupting him eating his banana to ask for a photo. Martin, if you're watching, I'm sorry. As if. Yep, Ocon and Gasly hate each other, low-key. Yeah, and I don't see that fixing itself this year. You know, these two have harboured a lot of not positive feelings towards each other for quite a while. And if you put in the pressure cooker of a Formula 1 team constantly being compared to the person you don't like, that's not going to make you like them more, is it? Let's be honest. Mercedes need to fix that rear and balance. Yeah, that's the key thing that Mercedes need to work on over the next day, and then the next week, of course, leading up to practice 1. Yeah, it's not stable. You see it going through some of the quick corners on traction as well. It's not looking too hot. I didn't think the Ferrari looked great on traction, but I think they were quite long into a sort of race run. So maybe that was just a lack of rear grip, and maybe just pushing a little bit too hard. See how the tyres react when you do push them over the edge. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Do you think McLaren is a papaya Red Bull? No, I think it's quite a different car, really. It's quite a different car. Maybe he had foot cramp. Yeah. Yeah. Can we get a poll between Max, Lewis and Leclerc? You know what? Sod it. Let's just be really controversial and do that. So this is the poll results for this one. Aston Martin leads 71%, Alpine 29%. Last call for any votes on that, and I will stop it in just a second time. I will set up a new poll, which is just going to be controversial. Why am I doing it? It's going to be controversial. Of who is the best between... what was it? Who is the best between Max, Hamilton, Alonso and Leclerc? So there we go. That poll has now ended. Let's go between... This is going to cause World War III. Why are we doing this? Who is the top scorer in equal machinery? That's our question here. We've got Max. Oh, I'll do surnames. Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, and Leclerc. So we type those out. Hamilton and Leclerc. Oh, I didn't do that properly. There we go. Leclerc. Cool. Let's see how badly this goes. Because it will go badly. This is going to go badly. I think Max is the best for driving, but prefer Leclerc. Equal machinery, you summoning Rosberg. Ooh, yeah, good point, good point. Just to make it more controversial, and after that poll, Constructors Champion. Ooh. We'll save that one for day 3. We'll save that one for tomorrow. Yeah, so let's let that poll run for a bit. We'll come back to that in a minute. Oh, I've gone to the wrong thing. That's our tweet deck. I mean, if you want to look at IndyCar reveals safety tech procedural changes for 2023, then there's a good article for you. But yeah. I think Max is the best for driving, but for Leclerc, yeah, summoning Rosberg. So Hamilton currently leading by quite some distance. But like I say, we're going back to that in a minute. So get voting on that poll if you want your say. Hi, viva la figa! Woohoo. Alonso is experienced in equal machinery. I'd pick Max, but lots of people will already choose him, so Alonso. Fair enough, fair enough. Is there any other innovations any teams have brought to day 2? I didn't see a lot of changes today. They did some comparisons to like previous days and previous years. And compared to last year, yeah, there's a lot of changes. But today, I think fundamentally, a lot of the cars were really similar, weren't they? Is this today? Is what today? We've had the running today. The running today has finished. The running of day 2 has concluded today. Yeah. So today's running has finished. For flip's sake, I've just figured out what you're asking. I know I'm going to get corrected in the chat now. You were asking about, yeah. Oh, no, maybe you weren't. Okay, maybe you weren't. I thought you were asking about, like, the poll. Is it based on, like, today, as in, like, who would win right now? Any guesses on Construction's lineup? Yeah, okay, so my top 6 in the Constructors at the moment from what we've seen so far. Number 1, Red Bull. Number 2, Ferrari. Number 3, Mercedes. Number 4, Aston Martin. Number 5, Alpine. And number 6, McLaren. That's my prediction. Honestly, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I don't know. Maybe Haas 7th. Maybe Haas 7th. AlphaTauri 9th. Williams 10th. And whoever I've missed out. I remembered it a second ago. Who's the other team? Alfa Romeo 8th. There we go. Swap McLaren Alpine. I would like to as a McLaren fan. I'm not sure I can, based on what I've seen so far. I'd love to, but I don't think I can. I think Aston might make top 5. Yeah, fully. They will make top 5. They will make top 5. Low midfield looks really close. Yeah, that's. I struggle with that sort of bottom 4, to be honest. I don't think we've got a clear back marker this year. The Williams seems better than I was anticipating, to be honest. Like how it's driving, it seems all right. I really thought they'd be in trouble this year, and I still stand by thinking that because it made sense. But no, they might be all right. They might end up being all right. I think Williams will be a surprise. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to lean that way into thinking they might be okay. You know, I mean, like they might get points semi-regularly ish. Yeah, I think Williams will be a surprise. Yeah. So I think Williams is definitely an interesting one because the car looks good. Like the car when it's actually on track, it looks good. So yeah, I mean, it bodes well for them. That really does bode well. But yeah, so I guess we'll push on for about another 15 minutes. We'll go to about the 2-hour mark and then round stuff off. Let's take a look at what's going on in this poll down here. See, I want to do the whole like look down here thing, but if I'm looking down here, I can't actually see it. So I have 70 votes on that. Hamilton with 44%, Alonso 31%, 18% for Verstappen, and 7% for Leclerc. Fair enough. Yeah, without actually like doing this experiment in real life, I don't think I could predict it. Like, I really don't. That would vary race by race. They'd probably crash into each other quite a lot as well. I don't know who you could put top there. What actually happened to George Carter? Apparently it was a hydraulics failure. That's what we've heard. So apparently a hydraulics issue. Max is going to be a 3-time world champion this year. I would say, yeah, the odds are leaning that way at the moment. If I had to, you know, if you said, here's a £5 bet you have to put on F1, I'm putting it on Max at the moment. Manifesting 100k subs by the next year. Let's go. Ooh, that would be... I mean, that's not going to happen. Unless like something really pops off. You know, if we had a really dramatic freeway title fight this year, and I streamed like every single day of the year, maybe. But I'd say on the whole, that's probably quite unlikely. By the way, if you are new here and you're watching and you aren't already, subscribe because you can join the cool club. And we're also really, really close to 11.5k. That's our current road to. So if you could help us reach that, that would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Because yeah, we'll be doing a lot of coverage this year. I'm really looking to sort of step up the amount of content this year because these streams are so easy to do, and you guys are fun. You're all fun people. I enjoy doing these. You gained have your sub on Dave Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I mean gains. Yeah, exactly. The Abu Dhabi race was ridiculous, and that's what I mean. All you need is like enough controversy. But I haven't been anywhere near consistent enough. You know, like the Twitch contract meant I spent like 4 months away from the YouTube channel. Tried to come back to it. never really got it going again. And sort of mentally, I think I was already like, yeah, I'm going to gear up for next year and do that. So that's what we're doing now. You know, this is the new year. It was good watching your stream. Good night after seeing Alonso would lose to Hamilton in equal machinery. My biggest scandal and robbery in history of F1. It was quite dramatic, wasn't it? It was quite dramatic. I remember that happening and went, oh, this is going to get a lot of views today. Because we joked about that sort of thing happening in the preview. And we had a good couple of hundred people watching that. I'm like, hang on, for a preview for a race, this is quite a few people. And then, yeah, all hell kicked off. And the chat was blammin' ridiculous that day. Ooh. I mean, to be honest, rightly so. I see why Hamilton fans were annoyed. You know, like, it's... Sure, Max deserved the title. Great. Whoever won it deserved it that year. I can see why Hamilton fans were a little annoyed. So can the FIA, so did F1. Everyone knows that. Would Mercedes thanked Red Bull for robbing them? To be honest, the results of Hamilton are extraordinarily disappointing. I really didn't expect that. I mean, he's on 42%. He's doing quite well. He is winning the pole at the moment. Or do you mean like the actual lap time? Again, when we have two things going on, it's quite hard to know what people are actually talking about. A lot of this whole streaming thing is just guessing what you guys are talking about. It's really fun. It's a good mental challenge. Yeah, 2021, one of the best seasons ever that ended absolutely poorly. Yeah, that's how I sum it up these days. Like, it was a phenomenal season. Great season. Great drivers, great cars, great racing. I think, you know, I made my thoughts very clear on the standard of racing between Hamilton and Verstappen, and I didn't think it was on, really. Both of them were just too aggressive, I think, at times. And the FIA allowed that to happen, and I feel like that's where they ultimately went wrong. They sort of lost control of that whole battle, really, and sort of the narrative, they couldn't control it. So, yeah, I think that's where that went quite wrong from the FIA point of view. And then it went really wrong from the FIA point of view in the last race. Really wrong. A little annoyed, I cried fast. Yeah, I'm under-exaggerating when I say a little annoyed. GP2 engine, or I remember that now. Alonso is having a time of his life. I know. Think if you're Fernando Alonso right now, how happy you'll be. You know, you've probably got one more year in this car before you probably retire. And you're already in a pretty good position. And you know next year they're probably going to make another upward step. Because as I've been saying loads of times, Aston Martin, for the next 3 years now, they have to progress. If they don't, that's a failure. Like, they have failed to utilise the things that are going well for them. Like I say, new staff, a lot more money, new facilities coming online this year, which will obviously help towards next year and a year after's car. Yeah, for the next half a decade nearly, they've probably got to improve year on year. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens. Isn't it weird how F1 is the only sport that cheaters don't get kicked out of sport? I mean, I guess, but that's sort of the nature of the sport and why I love it, is people will try to get away with things. And it's because the environment allows them to try to get away with things. You know, the FIA have never been that sort of, you know, unless you cheat in like a sporting context and like fixing a race or something, they've never done that, oh, we're going to kick you out because of it sort of thing. And I like it that way. Tell me why. That's how I want it that way, isn't it? Never mind, ignore that joke. Aston need to see more return on investment soon. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. They have to improve year on year, and they will. I think at least like this year and next year they should improve. This year they definitely improved. I mean, honestly, this year they're already having a better season than they have last year, and it hasn't even started yet. So they were like 6 tenths quicker than what the best Aston Martin managed in Bahrain last year. So they've already improved. You know, this season they've achieved more than they did last year already. Aston needs some more. Yep. Surprise Red Bull and Ferrari, of course. You know, yeah, maybe. But yes, it's also meant Mercedes is always showing bad results in the beginning, so in that case they can surprise with incredible fast results. Nor upgrades during the upcoming races. Surprise Red Bull Ferrari, of course. Yeah. I mean, it would surprise us potentially as well, because that car doesn't look great at the moment. Like, the actual drivability in a Mercedes is very unstable, but all of that can be fixed with a setup. And if they find a sweet spot when we get to Bahrain, you know, in a week's time now, when we're in free practice, they can win. There's no reason that they could. You know, there's no reason they won't. I do think though, based on what we've seen so far, Red Bull are the strongest. Like they're doing well. My favourite track and destination. I mean Silverstone. I love nothing more than the British Grand Prix weekend. Just being there, like it's so amazing. I I'm gonna sound like such a boring person right now, and that's because fundamentally I probably am. Like I don't like the route Silverstone's got. It's a proper like party atmosphere now. It's too busy. There's too many people at Silverstone. Why does F1 have to become popular? You know what? Why do all you guys like the sport? You know, like it used to just be you turn up, there's like no one here, and you go, oh, it's a bit dead, isn't it? But then you go sit in the grandstand and watch the cars. It's like now everyone likes the sport. I'm like, oh, God, come on, it makes it more expensive as well. Don't do that. But yeah, if you haven't already, if you could like the stream, that massively helps out because can we get to 100 likes? I'm not ending the stream before we get to 100 likes. It's just not allowed to happen. You know. So if we could do that, that's always my mental target for these streams. If we can get to 100, like I end the stream and I go, yeah, that was good. I really, you know, like that makes me happy. If you want to make me happy, let's see if we can do that. I know I'm groveling. Where's Bottas? So yeah, Bottas didn't run today. So it is Bottas all day in the car tomorrow, as far as I'm aware. Unless Bottas was in the car all day yesterday. I don't remember. I like Williams, AlphaTauri, Haas. Oh no, Haas I've paid attention to be fair. But Alpha, I haven't seen a lot of Alfa Romeo at all this test. I just haven't seen a lot of them. I miss cold, windy Silverstone. I'm not a party person. I know. I want it to be nice and quiet. I want it to be cold. I want it to be wet. Racing to be a bit boring. But no, we've had absolute bangers. And I mean, to be fair, Bastille last year was really cool. At Silverstone, like to have big bands like that come in, and I can't wait till they release the artists that are coming to do shows this year. And Sam Ryde at post race, tell you what, very good voice, very good voice. I've got so many emails. I'm gonna have to go through my emails after this stream, and that's really depressing because I hate going through emails. Sounds good. I want to see Bottas flying around track. Yeah, I think is he in the car all day tomorrow? I'm not sure what the run plan was yesterday for Alfa Romeo. I genuinely don't know. It's not often you stump me, but I cannot remember. I really can't. Where will Aston finish the season? I'm going to say 4th, constructors-wise 4th. Fernando Alonso also solidly 7th in the drivers. Maybe 6th if one of the top 3 teams have poor reliability and a poor driver. Like, let's say Sainz really flops and the Ferrari breaks down every other race, then maybe Alonso could sneak in. But yeah, no, Alonso and Aston Martin, best of the rest on both drivers and constructors for me. In my opinion. They have 10 World Cups. Fernando Alonso y Marc Marquez. Merck always sandbagging. They will climb the timesheets. Given that I think Red Bull is stupid fast and not playing all their cards just yet. Yeah, I mean, maybe Ferrari... They've... You see, the problem is with trying to predict the order is I always start like second guessing myself because the teams could be doing anything. I start going, yeah, this seems like the logical route that the teams are going for, but I think, yeah, but what if they're not? And I'm like, yeah, what if they're not? And yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. Bottas full day tomorrow. Just check. I guess it's Bottas full day. Thank you for that. Thank you for checking. Let me give you 11,500 subs. We're close. I don't think we'll finish at this stream because I am going to go off like fairly soonish. But next stream we should hit 11.5k, which is very cool. So hopefully tomorrow, we're going to have quite a long stream tomorrow. I'm hoping to cover like all of the afternoon session. Morning session might be a stretch because I think I'm in charge of the puppy in the morning. And also, not sure I actually want to stream for 9 hours, if I'm being brutally honest. I did that last year for over 3 days, and it was rough. Like, it was really rough. So I'm thinking of maybe just doing the afternoon session. Go live like half hour before the afternoon session starts. Have some lunch, got some drink, you know, and I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Just some great stuff here. Thank you so much, System87. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Really does mean a lot. My top 5 sprint destinations. So what, my top 5 destinations to have a sprint race? Ooh, good question. Silverstone, that worked really well for me. I really enjoyed that. Buongiorno, Stefan Collin. Buongiorno indeed. Or bonjour. Isn't buongiorno Italian? I don't know. I just like saying buongiorno. Buongiorno is more fun than bonjour. You guys should change it to that. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm awful. I'm really, really awful. Top 5 sprint destination. Silverstone. I don't know why it's at Spa. That's annoying the hell out of me because it's just awful. Yeah, no, I know bonjour is French, but like buongiorno, like no at the end. Buongiorno. Is that, or is that just people chuck that at the end? Yeah. Buongiorno is Italian. Yeah, good. See, I know. I was gonna say I did some Italian. I should know that. Oh my god, where are the subs coming from? Why is everyone subscribing all of a sudden? I mean, thank you very much. Almost low fast 5. Very close. Oh, has everyone just been waiting to get close to it so they can become the 11? Okay, in that case, we might hit it on this stream rather than tomorrow. Yeah, fair enough. Well, if you're not subscribed already and you want to go for it. But yeah, no, so top 5 sprint destinations: Silverstone, Singapore, because that'd be a long sprint race, and I think they're just too short. It feels so bad sitting down to like watch a racing event and have it as short as it is. I don't like it. One more, very close. I'm gonna miss it because I'm talking about the sprint stuff. So Singapore, Silverstone, Saudi Arabia, because I think it'd be quite fun to watch. Not Spa, laps too long. You do know you're literally just hit 11.5. No, I'm very close. Oh, no, I've just hit it. Fair enough. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Next up, 12,000. We rolling. I still didn't finish this list. So we've got Silverstone, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, because it's a good racetrack, and Brazil. I think Brazil sprint race works really well. So that's my 5 for that. Congrats for 11.5. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I think, what's the next real milestone? Like, is the next real milestone like 12.5? Is that a milestone, or is it 15k? Because to me, like, every 2.5 is like that's a good like round milestone. I quite like that. I don't know what it is though. I don't know what's like officially a good milestone on here. I think it goes like 100, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000. Oh no, because I've got to include 7,500 if I'm going to include 12,500. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, this isn't really F1 related, is it? But it's fun. By the way, who is Zhou? I don't know that driver yet. Zhou Guanyu, Chinese driver, who is driving the Alfa Romeo this year, who put on the softest set of tyres and set that lap time. And that is, he put on the softest set of tyres. That's why he's up there now. Real Madrid, the best. Williams looking solid so far. Yeah, they really are, aren't they? They really are. Is Williams giving me a false hope? I don't know, because you see, I was being really pessimistic with Williams. I just didn't think they'd do that well coming into this season. You know, they didn't have a technical director for ages. They have a team principal now, but you know, he's literally just come into the job. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to do well. Sorry, I really thought Williams would struggle this year, but it's looking all right. I'm gonna be honest. Like, the car looks like it's handling well. The drivers are putting in a great performance. I think Sargent and Albon, that's not a bad driver lineup at all. I think that next year when we do our driver pairings tier list again, you're going to see them be probably upgraded, because Sargent isn't going to be a rookie anymore, and that will make them quite a good pairing. I don't know why my nose has just gone stuffy. That's really annoying. We have no hope. Williams every single year since 2019. Yeah. I see Jensen 2009 chat behind you, which reminds me of glory days of Jensen. He's still my favourite driver. I know. I love him to bits. There's a website where you can get a signed helmet of him. And I'm going to be honest, the YouTube money that we get from this month will probably go to that purchase to go in my display cabinet that's arriving tomorrow. I've just thought someone's going to have to collect my display cabinet because I'll be streaming. That's logistics. We can work that out later. That's a problem when tomorrow comes. It's a future me problem. We could do a stream setting up a display cabinet. That sounds quite fun. Mostly because I'm going to get stuck and need to ask you guys how I assembled a display cabinet. You see, I'm an automotive engineer. We're not carpenters. We don't know what we're doing. I mean, we barely follow instructions about cars, yet alone like everything else. But yeah, yeah, that'd be fun to get. But yeah, overall, pretty cool. Where are all the subscribers coming from? Like, we had like no sub growth for most of the stream, and it's gone up like 10 in the last few minutes. Are more people coming in the stream that aren't subscribed already? Because I'm still trying to figure out how this YouTube algorithm really like works with this sort of thing. Because I've realised the first few minutes of the stream, you have like really slow growth because it goes to initial audience first. And then depending on how much of your initial audience clicks on it, it then spreads it to a wider audience. So I think that's how it works, but the YouTube algorithm just makes no sense on the whole. Like, even people who say they understand it, they'll openly admit they sort of understand, but like it's very hard to get. Williams haven't even been in one of the top teams since 2015. I know. And I remember the Silverstone where they were running 1-2 after getting a really good start. And I'm thinking, guys, prioritise. I think it was Massa. Massa behind Bottas or Bottas behind Massa. It was, I can't remember which one was ahead. I think it was those two. And yeah, I'm like, prioritise the quicker one. And they just didn't. And then they just completely threw away the race. And did they even get points in the end? Like, they just got the strategy horribly wrong. It started raining and everything just fell apart horrendously. If it's IKEA, just 100,000 bolt. Yeah, it's IKEA. So we're going to struggle with this. We're really going to struggle with this. I could have paid an extra £40 to have it assembled. And like, I know tomorrow I'm going to open it up and go, I should have paid that £40. I should have paid it. But no, it's fine. It's fine. We know what we're doing. We're really good. F1 Fanatics is the best AI channel ever, and I hate it. Wait, what is it? F1 Fanatics. Is that like the, you know, like the Instagram stuff where they have like the presidents on AI and stuff like that? Is there something like along those lines? Because yeah, what do you mean by the AI stuff? That sounds, I mean, it sounds interesting. I've got so many messages. Jesus Christ. Williams 2009 have one great driver at Nakajima. Hey, don't diss Nakajima. He was good fun. He was good fun. With good content comes good. Well, I mean, thank you very much. Unless you're saying. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yeah, what's the F1 Fanatic stuff? That sounds interesting. Well, I hope you get it soon. I see you on the F1 grid walks in the future. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'd go quite that far. I'm gonna be, I'm all for optimism, guys, and like manifesting good stuff. But let's not go that far. Let's tone it down a little bit. So if anyone just joining, they're gonna be really confused because I just saw the view count went up. So. Hi, if you've just joined. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you guys. So yeah, the IKEA display cabinet is going to go terribly wrong. But yeah, we've lost it. What if Aston Martin do the same as Brawn? Okay, so this is the thing that I keep seeing people mention is like doing a Brawn. I don't see that as a real possibility because, as I said earlier in the stream, there's nothing on that Aston Martin that's revolutionary. You know, you had the double diffuser on the Brawn. Everyone looks at that and goes, "Oh, that's game changing." You know, that if that's legal, that's a big thing. We need to get that on our car. There's nothing on the Aston Martin that would suggest that. The Aston Martin is just a good car so far. It looks like it's just a good, refined car that knows what it wants to do and it's working to its strengths. Great. That's what you want. Yeah. I don't know. It's it can't win without a big regulation change, like a 2021-esque regulation change sort of thing, or 2022 because it was delayed, but 2021 originally. Without those sort of big regulation changes, you're not going to see a team jump from 6th in the constructors to 1st. That won't happen. You need something revolutionary, and there's nothing revolutionary on the Aston Martin. They've made a good car. So they're gonna step up and they're gonna be really competitive at times this year, but they won't win the championship. That will not happen. Sorry, I'd love to say they could compete because I want them to because it'll make it better. More teams competing, the better. But again, like I say, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys just to make it sound more fun than it actually is because, I mean, ultimately that's pointless. I see a lot of YouTubers do that, and I'm like, you're just saying this so that people like share it and stuff. I'm like, you're actively lying to your audience, speaking absolute rubbish, and I won't do that to you guys, and that's why I'm cool. 2019 to 2022 is pain. Yeah, it was a little bit. It was a little bit. Nakajima is the GOAT of hitting pit crew before Stroll makes it popular. Yeah, that was rough. Is it just me, or was McLaren actually one of the top team in the first half of season 2021? Yeah, they were. No, 2021 was the peak of like the new ascendancy of McLaren. 2022 they had the issue with the brake ducts in the first few races, and that really set them back. And they sort of recovered to an all right level. Lando was, well, he got a couple of really good, qualifying, a couple of really good races. He got podium. He's the only driver outside the top 3 teams to get a podium last year. So the McLaren was all right, but no, their peak was 2021. That was a good car. If they had, was it 2020 or 2021 Abu Dhabi qualifying when Lando qualified? I think it was third, but only about a tenth and a half, 2 tenths off the pace. They still had the Renault engines at that point. And I remember saying, I'm like, that lap was so good. If McLaren had the Mercedes engine that year, he'd have put that on pole. So it was a quick car. 2021, yeah. And that would have shaken up the race, wouldn't it? That really would have shaken it up. Yeah. 2023 brake motor, yeah. Why we don't see team principal role ever change on Red Bull, even they have bad days as Ferrari does a freeze? Well, because Ferrari are a bit more knee jerky. But Christian Horner just does a good job. He's approaching 20 years in that role now, and that's massive. That's 2 decades spent in that role. It's crazy, the dedication to it, and it's because he's doing a good job. Red Bull aren't a team that have an inherent right to be at the top. There's not a problem with Red Bull finishing 4th or 5th. They're not a manufacturer. They're an energy drinks company. But when Ferrari, the peak of Italian engineering, are finishing 6th, 7th in the constructors, that's a problem. That's seriously bad. Ferrari can't be that bad. They're prestigious. You can't have that. Same with Mercedes, they can't be right down the bottom. So that's why you see a lot of changes at those teams. It's because they should be at the top. Red Bull has no divine right to be at the top. They just keep making good cars. They're an energy drinks company who make great Formula 1 cars, with a great team behind them. Lando to Aston when Alonso retires. I've never thought of that before, but you know what? That's not a bad shout at all. That's really not a bad shout. Hi, mate. Hello, Suresh. How you doing? Good to see you back. But yeah, Ferrari needs a guy like Horner. Yeah, you need long-term stability who can create a good working environment and knows what they're doing. And ultimately, I'll say Christian Horner is a person who does that. So, yeah, Red Bull have Adrian Newey, enough said. Yeah, exactly. They just have good enough people in those important roles and keep them there. I'm going to turn the lights down again a little bit. Is that too dark? That feels too dark. I'm going to turn it up. I don't know, though. It's less saturated. Yeah, no, I'm turning it down. We're going to go dark mode, guys. We're going dark mode. This is what Toto Wolff said today. It's going to be a single world champion who replaced someone at Aston. Yeah, potentially. Am I cheering for Alonso this season? I'm not like a fan of Alonso, but like I really admire him, and I'd like to see him do well. Like, I'd like to see him compete. That's what I want to see. Like, I want to see a Fernando Alonso that's competing for like a championship or whatever. That's what I really want to see. But I wouldn't say like I'm actively cheering for him to win. I try to stay as neutral as possible in F1. Even when I'm watching it by myself, I try to stay neutral, unless it's Lando, or Jensen. But yeah. Will you watch Drive to Survive? Yeah, I'll try to watch the first couple of episodes tonight, because apparently there's that really good argument with Binotto, Horner, and Wolf, and Toto. So I'll try to watch first 2 episodes tonight. See if I prefer it to the previous years, because honestly, the last 2 years I didn't really like it that much. So last year I think I watched episode 1, 2, and 10, and I still haven't seen episodes 3 to 9. Like, I see all the memes and stuff coming out of it, so like I know what happens, and I watch the season, so it's like I don't care. But yeah, and apparently there's more like background stuff, like behind the scenes, because obviously no more cough, which I'm going to keep referring it to as forever. So they had much more access to the film crew. So yeah, maybe it's better this year. I'll give it a watch. I'll watch some episodes. Watch only Haas episodes, still no Haas DTS meme. Yeah, balance problems on the back. Yeah, for the Mercedes, it definitely seemed like there was some balance problems around the rear end. It seemed very loose through the quick corners. Who thought an energy drink will beat a racing team? Now Ferrari should start by competing in energy drinks. Taste of confidence. Exactly. They're like, well, if you're going to beat us in our game, we're going to beat you in your game as well. I'd drink a Ferrari energy drink. I don't drink energy drinks, but a Ferrari one, I'd try that. I mean, like, this is cool. A Ferrari F1 energy drink. That sounds fun. Which track would you like to come back? Malaysia. Slam dunk Malaysia. I really enjoyed that track. Alonso is definitely going to win a race this season. He's definitely going to pick up a podium. But I think we have to appreciate when there's 3 more competitive teams, you don't get the shock wins like we had in 2021, 2020 when there's only 2 competitive teams. I mean, 2021, you had backmarkers or midfield picking up podiums willy-nilly. Like, every race, you got one, pretty much. Last year, we got 1. And that's because we have 3 competitive teams. The difference between having 2 and 3 competitive teams is massive. In the terms for, like, surprise wins and stuff. I don't think he'll get a win, but I think he'll pick up a podium. At least 1 podium. Yeah, German Grand Prix as well. I'd love to see German Grand Prix return, and Turkey as well. But Malaysia, man. Malaysia, I really enjoyed it. Do you miss Russian Grand Prix? Not really. It wasn't a great track. It wasn't a great racetrack. It was a good track to, like, drive around on the F1 games, and I sort of enjoyed watching teams drive around it, but, like, it wasn't a good racetrack. Ferrari Energy Sprint faster than Red Bull. I like that. Will it, spontaneously combust? Ha ha ha. I'm going to be honest, Istanbul. Yeah. I mean, yeah, very valid shout. Will Mercedes sign Lando or promote Mick for a replacement after Ham's 8-4 drive championship? I don't know where Mercedes go, because apparently the most heavily linked driver at the moment is Esteban Ocon. And I'm going to be honest, a driver lineup of Esteban Ocon and George Russell doesn't overwhelm me as a team that's going to easily win Constructor Championships as much as a Hamilton and Russell does. So, meh on that one. Do you organise F1 online races? No, but I was interested at times last year, and I think if the channel grows more, we will look at doing, like, setting up a league, because my entry to F1 content came from, like, content creation and like commentary and league racing, all of that sort of thing that sort of got me more into the online aspect of Formula 1 rather than just being a fan who watches on TV. So I'd like to start an F1 league. I think that'd be quite fun. I used to host a Demolition Derby league, and that was really fun. So you'd have, like, 20 people lined up on the grid, 5-lap race. It's a last man standing. That's how it works. Simulation damage, last car remaining at the end wins, and the points go. It was really fun. I'd love to do something like that again. And honestly, there's enough people are in and around the channel that I would, I mentioned that in a stream where we end up like 1,000 people again. We're easily filling up a grid for that. So it might be something that I'm tempted to do again, but not quite yet. Or maybe even a full league and I commentate on it, because I miss commentary. I really miss commentary. Because, like I said, I mean, I used to do the top Xbox, like, league. WR Tier 1 was, like, the biggest Xbox league. And I also used to do SRC, which is where all of the esports teams race against each other. Like, and I miss that. I really miss it, because it was fun. It was really fun to commentate on some, like, the most elite Ron Ha. Everyone knows Ron Ha from the F1 esports. I commentated on him for well over a year. Phenomenal driver. So I do miss it. I miss it quite a lot. But it's hard to get it with times. That's the problem. It's hard to value Ocon's level. He did beat Verstappen in F3, I think. But yeah, I know I'm so undecided on what quality Esteban Ocon actually is. It's such a hard one to gauge. Same with Gasly, to be honest. Because I feel like they've so regularly either been against teammates who they should be easily beating, and they have easily beat them, or drivers who you expect to beat them, and they got beaten by them. So it's quite hard to gauge. And of course, Ocon had Perez early on in his career, but that was early in his career. Pascal Wehrlein as well, really early in his career. Ocon's been around for a lot longer than people think, and that always really confuses me. Like, people mentioned him at Manor today. I was like, oh my god, he was at Manor, wasn't he? That was crazy. Hope Mick gets a chance to drive and gets a podium in Merc. I mean, yeah, he's a reserve driver, so I wouldn't, and if he does drive, you'd expect him to get a podium. RaceBeacon, did yo? I'm assuming that's a message that's just gone horribly wrong. And King of Shock Pole. Yeah, I mean, yeah. First Force India podium finish, yeah. How about Portuguese track? I'm not a massive fan of Mugello, if I'm being honest. Portimao, sorry. Flip's sake. Portimao, not a massive fan of it. It's an okay track. but meh. Again, it's a track that I just go meh. Like, it's a good traditional track. I like that aspect, but yeah. Did you think that the F1 cars should have LED lights under the cars if they go to race in Vegas? I think it'd be so fun to see. You know, nighttime Vegas strip, get some LEDs under the cars. It'd be fun. That'd be really fun to see. Did you know Lando is the youngest ever British podium star? I did not know that. I mean, I'd probably guessed it in like a poll or something, but like, yeah, no, that's a good stat. My boy, that's my boy. That's my boy. Why do you think it's? I don't know. I don't know. We had a couple of races there, and I never really took to it that much. Like, I never really like cared for it if it was on the calendar or not. I just didn't really. I wasn't fussed either way. Is Mazepin to be considered a GOAT? Probably. I mean, it's pretty close to it. You know, I mean, his contribution to F1 was, you know, it's almost unbeatable. So there's an argument to be had. Obviously, I'm joking. He missed a sprint race, a spin race. Oh, that's mean. That's mean. I mean, it's not. It's completely fair, but that's mean. Goal reached. Congrats, 100. And I'm on 99 at the moment. Unless it updates in a second. We're on 99. I'm basically just waiting until we get to 100 likes, and then that's when that's when we can leave. But also, like, we're not even talking about testing anymore. I love it. Like, this is what I love about these streams. We just talk about anything. It's great. It's so good. Like, all the F1 related stuff, and you guys always come up with stuff that I hadn't really thought about before, and Joe was quickest, yeah. But that was because he went on, I think, C5 tyres even, I think it might have been. So don't read too much into it at all. Just don't. Like, I think all today proves is this is why you don't read into preseason testing times, because Zhou Guanyu has stopped the session, and that Alfa Romeo is not going to be like in the top 6 quickest cars. So, yeah, yeah. You're gonna wear the new helmet next stream? It's what the new. Oh, right. Okay, so you mean like the signed one? If I get it. It's a half scale helmet, so I'm gonna be honest. Unless Jenson Button has a really big head, I might struggle to fit into that. It wouldn't fit in a display cabinet otherwise. Lando was 20 when he got his first podium, and Lewis was 22. Wow, yeah, I forgot Lando was 20, wasn't he? Lando was as old as I am when he got his first podium. That's horrendously depressing for me. Like, that really is. That's really. He's also a better streamer than me as well. I haven't even got that one up on him. He's got more streamer followers than me. Plan it out. That could be my goal in life. I've got to beat Lando on a streaming record just so I can say I won at something. I won. Should I go to win a Grand Prix? No. No, he will not this year. No. That car, and there's nothing against Joe. That car's not capable of winning a race. That car's not going to win a race. There's 6 quicker cars at least on the grid. So yeah, I unless they pull an absolute masterclass on a strategy at one of the races, no, that's not going to happen. Lando is also the 3rd youngest podium sitter in F1 history. Wow. Who are the 2 younger drivers? Obviously Verstappen and who's younger? That's a good trivia question. Who's the second one? I know Verstappen will be younger. Verstappen would be, I think, 19, late 19, early 19. Who's the other one? Stroll, of course. Wait, I thought Lando just beat Stroll actually. Oh, it is okay. So yeah, I knew it was close between Lando and Stroll, but I thought Lando was on the other side, being slightly younger. So yeah, Stroll. There we go. Well, there you go, guys. Isn't that amazing that the 3 youngest podium sitters? I don't know who 4th is. Oh no, Hamilton. Is Hamilton 4th? 22? No, Vettel. So yeah, Vettel's gone. Vettel was younger than Hamilton when he got his first podium, wasn't he? But anyway, I'm about to say, it's so weird. It just shows how these younger talents are being nurtured and brought into F1 at that younger age. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Like that we have so many young drivers. It's probably like 8 of the top 10 are drivers who are either on the grid now or were on the grid in like the last 5 years, and that just shows, you know, I mean, I don't know what it shows, to be honest. It shows that the best talents are probably getting through the system now more than they were in the past. I think that's probably our best takeaway from that data. I think Valtteri Bottas will get sacked from Alpha if Zhou beats him, I assume is where you're going with that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty. No, I think he'll get a 1 year contract extension anyway. I think regardless, Valtteri's getting a 1 year contract extension. Who do you think is the most underrated F1 driver all years? Oof. I mean, the floor's open with this one because this is going to vary massively person by person. Most I mean, it's going to be someone back from like the 50s or 60s that were just really good, but no one knows about them now. Like, surely that's the easy answer. Like a Jim Clark sort of driver. Like, you know, someone who's incredibly... Or Fangio, you know, someone who's really, really successful, but because of the era we're in now, many people don't know about them. Juan Pablo Montoya? Yeah, again, that's also a good shout because he was a very, very good driver who never got rated that highly in Formula 1. So, yeah, good shout. Good shout very much. Yeah, I don't know. I can't go much further than that. I don't really know. Alain Prost? Yeah, no, but I feel like Alain Prost really... He's a very highly rated driver. Like, I wouldn't call him underrated. I mean, some people will not rate him, and that's, you know, completely valid. Like, you're allowed to not rate drivers. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's an underrated driver, you'd think. I don't think so, at least. But yeah, I think we'll round off the stream, to be honest, because I mean we are just sort of talking about nothing. And also I think we're gonna get quite a lot of streaming in tomorrow. So guys, I hope to see you all tomorrow. It'd be absolutely great if you return. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It really means a lot. It really helps out. And like the stream, whatever you want to do. But yeah, thank you guys for being just great. You know, being in the chat as ever. Ayrton Senna #1. Fair play, fair play. But guys, yeah, like I say, see you tomorrow. I think we'll try to do all of the afternoon session. We'll try to stream all of that tomorrow. So we'll give that a go. Thanks, see you tomorrow. Daniel Kvyat, not a bad shout. Eddie Irvine as well. Yeah, I mean, he's fairly rated, but yeah, no, probably for his level, could be higher. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow for day 3, the final day of F1 testing, before we get into the new season. Can't wait. Is Mark Webber one of the best F1 drivers ever? No. Tomorrow, do a record-breaking longest video out of all your videos tomorrow. Mate, I mean, that might be doable, because I think our longest stream was about 4.5 hours. So if I go... Yeah, we might be at about 5 hours tomorrow. So, yeah, that's a really long stream. Hope to see you guys there. Bye-bye. Have a good... 1 a.m. moment. Yeah, have a good sleep in that case. See you this evening, yeah. Yeah, okay, in that case, good night, everyone who is about to go sleep. So all my European, Asian friends, good night. And all of my American friends, hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, that is still tomorrow. That's how that works. Bye, guys. How do I end the stream?